Anti-derivative Jill.
There she is. There she is.
There is like a fifth dimension beyond that which is known to man. You know, it is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between light and shadows, between science and superstition, and it lies between the pit of a man's fears and the summit of knowledge. This is the dimension of imagination, and it's an area which we call like the Twilight Zone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Anti-Derivative Jills. This is the Twilight Zone on a terrific Tuesday. I forget the name of the show. But today, we are going to be talking about the Season 1 episodes of the Twilight Zone, 25 and 26. And they're called People Are Alike All Over and Execution. But before we get to that, I wanted to welcome the panel. I'm joined today by Scotty R37. Say hello.
Hello. It's so really wonderful to be here at Indefinite Lunch and Infinite Combinations number
That's what it's called. I
145.
remember. Sorry, it's a silliness day. It's April Fool's Day.
It's April Fool's Day, and I didn't know how to be silly, so I let Scotty start the show. So Gavin, he wasn't intending to mock the holy words, more so that we wanted to be silly on silliness.
Yeah, no. My Valley Girl sounds like Janice from the Muppets, from the Electric Mayhem.
That sounds about right, though.
Yeah.
Good enough for me. Hello to Sigvaldison, who says, "Praise be to our eldritch God."
Whoopity whoop whoop whoop.
Yeah, you would say. And good morning to DJ Knight.
Hey, DJ Knight.
Hello.
The fun will now commence.
Watcher X. My new cartoon avatar is not a Ghibli, just to let everybody know. But Skogly does like it. So yes, and it's right there. You can.
It's not a Ghibli?
No.
What is it?
It's just generic cartoon.
I love generic cartoons.
Yeah. But I need to be black and white. So I'm gonna be.
No, you're cool.
And I want to welcome to the panel Jedi Master 2022. He's going to join us to talk about the 2 episodes of the Twilight Zone that we're talking about today, called People Are Alike All Over, which I just introduced at the top of the show, and Execution.
Yes. How are you?
I'm outstanding. I just finished my errands. Thor is doing well, my pooch. And he's laying relaxing with my wife right now. And I made it on time. I actually got started early. I said I might be running late, and I just finished up faster than I thought I would. Yeah.
Well,
so it's good.
okay.
Good to see y'all.
Then Thor must be doing well. Great. And hello to James Caserta.
Hey, James.
And Skogly. Thank you.
Skogly.
Gavin says, I keep forgetting it's April the 1st. The news is so ridiculous now. You can't spot the joke stories.
I am a joke story. Greek letters in the chat says, well, people are alike all over, more or less.
Yes, and that's the name of the first episode today.
Yes.
People are alike all over. First aired on March 25th, 1960. And I have some slides.
Delightful. And also, big shout out to Stone Racket. Unfortunately, he can't be here today, but I'm wishing him well.
Please Be better soon, Stone Wreck-It.
Seems like an ultimatum, but sure.
Yeah, it is.
Scotty.
You have to be better.
You must.
It is. There's no compromise here. This episode was directed by Mitchell Layson, with the storyboard credit going to Paul W. Fairman, and the teleplay by Rod Serling. And we've got a storyboard credit this time because Rod Serling got the story from an old magazine. What old magazine was it? Fantastic something. But it was from 1952, and the story was called Brothers Beyond the Void by Paul Fairman. But in this original story, it was Mark Cusin who was the main character, and Conrad didn't even go to Mars. So this time we include Conrad, and he's the main character.
Played by the fantastic Roddy McDowell.
Yeah, took the words right out of my mouth, Scotty. I loved him in that episode. That was a good episode. It had if you don't mind me saying, a vibe of like The Cage, also A Day at the Zoo with Lost in Space, and The Martian Chronicles. It looked like a mishmash of those things.
Well, and also The Cage.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said The Cage. Yeah, The Cage from Star Trek. Absolutely.
Yes.
I wondered at whether this inspired that episode in any way, especially since the aliens are also telepathic, but we'll get into it very shortly.
No pulsating heads, though. 2 stars.
No butts on heads. No. Okay. But not this time.
Oh, and also, didn't you sort of observe a similarity to that episode in the first season of The Orville as well, Jill?
Yes, I did. There's a episode of The Orville which also has a zoo. It's a zoo. Well, what was that episode?
It was the zoo.
Command.
It wasn't. Go ahead.
It is season 1. You're right. Command Performance. And
you know what my favorite part about that episode is?
When I learn exactly Elvis's last words.
What were Elvis's last words?
I'm going to read right before he went to the bathroom.
Okay, that makes sense. No, my favorite part is when Mercer has a beer in the morning and Kelly is like, "But you're not German." That's my favorite part. Germans have beer in the morning. You're not German.
I was in Graf via Germany, and I was in K-Town, Kaiserslautern. All we did was drink. And back then.
Good beer, too, over there in Germany.
Oh, makes our stuff in America tastes like water. I don't drink beer.
Yeah, well, I drink PBR, so I don't know what I'm talking about.
No, you don't. Don't tell me you drink Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Of course I do.
Oh, it's practically his brand.
Back on topic. I'm sorry.
We're not sponsored, though. We're not sponsored.
Okay.
Oh, Canadian Spider-Man is here.
Hey, Spidey.
Hello.
Hey,
hello, Canadian
Spidey.
Spider-Man. Canadians have beer in the morning, too. Right, buddy? You, Scotty, are 37.
Especially when you're an April Fool.
Can verify. Well, for sure. That damn dirty ape Cornelius. I mean, Caesar. Or is it Galleon? Cornelius, yes.
Galen.
Well, and he's also in that one episode of Quantum Leap when Al gets erased from existence. He becomes Sam's observer.
Oh,
it's
weird.
Amazing. Oh, yeah.
But that's a good reminder, Watcher X. He's also in Planet of the Apes, but this time on the other side of the bars. Of the prison bars, the cage bars there. And we're, of course, talking about Roddy McDowell, who plays Sam Conrad in this particular story.
Awesome
and
role.
Yes, very good role.
But did you? Okay, so if you would mind, changing it away from the conveyance, I want to see his compatriot on the shuttle.
Okay. Well, of course, this is the rocket that's going to take them to space for what they say will be a long time. And we have a couple of astronauts here.
Now, do you recognize the guy on the right?
The guy on the right is, well, I have notes. So his name is Paul Comey.
Nice.
And
who was he? Where do you know him best from?
He's a kind of a lieutenant who needs to leave his bigotry in his quarters.
You are, oh man, if you weren't so far away, I would give you a high five.
Who is it? You guys got me on this one.
It's Lieutenant Styles from Balance of Terror. Oh, he's the guy who is all he distrusts Spock because when they finally get visual contact with Karas, the commander of the Romulan vessel, he's like, "Oh, Romulans and Vulcans, they look the same. My parents were killed by Romulans," kind of thing.
Leave any bigotry in your quarters. There's no room for it on the bridge.
Yeah, that guy.
Wow.
But Sam is the scientist of this mission. And yes. I guess Mark, Lieutenant Styles, and now we know his first name. We never had a first name for Styles, did we? Now we know it's Mark.
Johnny Styles. Private Eye.
So Sam says, I'm a scientist, a biologist. My world is one of books and slides and microscopes. I'm being sent up there because they need my mind. And it's very interesting for me to remember that these Twilight Zone episodes, of course, were made well before we actually succeeded in sending man to the moon and succeeded in space flight. And so these are fantastic historical documents of what science fiction predicted space flight would be like. And so we've come to find out that both the pilot astronauts and the scientific-minded astronauts all undergo pretty much similar training to make sure they can handle the rigors of space. So the scientists wouldn't be going in there without training.
Now, how did you feel about Roddy McDowall's attempt at an American accent? Because he wasn't as Roddy McDowall as he usually is. It feels like he was sort of hardening his R's. He wasn't, but like it was kind of like a, I don't know, mid-century New England. I say kind of not that's too British, but it's like the way Katharine Hepburn used to speak. It was like that mid-Atlantic kind of accent. How did you feel about his accent? Did he come off as British, or did he sound like old-timey Hollywood?
Kind of forced. It felt like he was forcing it a bit, but he's still a good actor. I mean, I love his emotions and his facial expressions, and the writing is so good in this episode. In my opinion, I think I really like this episode because they had an episode of Lost in Space called "A Day at the Zoo," where they put Don and Judy and Will, and they put them in cages, and it had a little. It seemed like it had a combination of a few stories and things that I've seen in the past, and they all like fell like into this episode. But his performance,
yeah, I don't know when we had the first science fiction idea of an alien keeping Earthlings as pets, but this episode itself in 1960 was based on a story from 1952, and so it just keeps the story does keep coming up because it's such a good one. Yes. But his accent didn't really bother me. I don't know. It did seem he did seem a little odd, but it didn't pull me out of it at all. So I was able to keep going with it. It didn't knock me out. But
oh no, and he does a great job, and I noticed it for a while, but because he's such a good actor, I did sort of ease back into just take the character. You don't have to, don't nitpick. Don't make fun of the way he talks.
There's also something kind of fun, again, about this being older science fiction, is that it wasn't until 1964, when we reviewed that movie, Robinson Crusoe Goes to Mars, that we were sure that you could not breathe air on Mars. So back here in 1960, you could imagine that Martians could still, be frolicking around up there. So what a fun time it must have been to be in the year 1960. Wondering what might be. And Mark talks about the possibility of encountering otherworldly life, and he has a philosophy on people. I mean, all people, Sam. They're the same all over. Well, I'm sure that when God made human beings, he developed them from a fixed formula. They'd be the same here on Earth as the furthest reaches of space. And so I would like for Jedi...
Is there air? You don't know.
Oh. Yes, about there being air on Mars. And you cannot breathe the Martian atmosphere, unfortunately. We came to find out in 1964. But it's a fun time in science fiction when you could consider it. Still.
See, people talk about the old-timey days, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, they didn't understand things back then. I mean, it's like, yeah, the Russians were shooting rockets at Venus, trying to like, oh, we'll do that. We'll take over Venus. And Americans were like, yeah, you do that. We're gonna do Mars, and we're just gonna go and ski.
Well, we weren't as excited about Venus because we saw all these clouds, and we were sure it was just crawling with dinosaurs.
Yeah, exactly. It's overcast. We don't want to go there.
And I'm not kidding either. But I like this episode also because it kind of looks like the Mars that they use looks kind of like what you saw from a really good telescope of the time of what Mars looks like with all the lines.
Well, and speaking of early science fiction, like when you look at stuff before the orbit of the Earth going to the moon and all that jazz, it's interesting to see the perception of what our planet or other planets look like before we had the capability to see them. And so even the interpretation, while quaint, is it's the Twilight Zone. It's Rod Serling. He was trying to be at least semi-accurate. And so I enjoy the attempt with the whimsy. Also,
Absolutely.
is this stock footage of a real launch? Not that. That looks like Dark Star, but oh man.
Looks like,
look at that.
That's nice. That's a nice shot of Mars.
It is.
We get a nice red hue when we look out at the sky. Me and my wife have this app, and we look at it tells you where the star, and you see Mars. You can see that red shimmy in the sky if it's clear enough. It's so beautiful.
Well, Master.
So I was wondering, Jedi Master 2022 in the private chat, we have an opening narration, and we like to read the opening and closing narrations. I was wondering if you could read your first opening narration for our show.
I'd love to. You are looking at a species of flimsy, little, two-legged animal with extremely small heads, whose name is man. Warren Moccasin, age 35. Samuel A. Conrad, age 31. They have taken a highway into space, man unshackling himself and sending his tiny, groping fingers into the unknown. Their destination is Mars, and in just a moment we will land there with them.
Love that.
Yeah, I love that too, except, oh no, Rod said we were landing, but they very clearly crash.
Yeah, when I saw that, I go, this ain't good.
Yeah, but Marcusson himself says any landing you can walk away from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was trying to keep his spirits up.
Yeah.
We used to call him Crash, John, Scotty. We used to call him Crash when we go see him and stuff. You say, how's Major Crash West? He goes, give you one of those IOTA.
Yeah, but also in the spaceship, we see, again, more Forbidden Planet stuff being reused. Always fun to see that stuff, especially those lights, which I always notice.
What, the ones that look like Pac-Man?
Yes, the Pac-Man lights. Yes, see,
Okay.
right there.
Yep.
Those are good. And Sam gets up to look around. He's upside down.
Yeah, and you know what? I was really impressed with this set because I was like, did they just put the camera on its side? And then I noticed the lights swinging, and I was like, oh no, they built this thing, and it was really, really good. So the production value on this episode. If you guys haven't seen an episode of the Twilight Zone, this is a good one.
It's excellent.
Yeah, and they had to make it so it seems like it's kind of topsy-turvy, and he has to swing around to get around. And so Sam...
I love it when you talk dirty. Topsy-turvy. You got to swing around. Anyway, sorry, it's April Fool's Day. I can be silly.
You can be
Scotty,
silly, Sam.
I like your sense of humor, Scotty. It's very blunt.
Thanks, man.
Sam
Don't
gets
forget
up
to
and
like
looks
and
around
subscribe. Hit the bell.
Sam's looking for Mark. There's his hand, and so it seems like that's he's only covered by this soft nap time mattress thing, but I'm sure that the actual impact of him being thrown from his seat was what knocked him, what injured him so much. And Sam tries to detect a pulse in Mark, and he must feel something because he decides to give him some kind of medicine, maybe adrenaline.
Morphine.
That's what I was thinking. Get out of my head.
Well,
but it was, you know what? It was a really cool. So
I don't think it's morphine because he's clearly in great pain, but in good spirits.
But like the thing that I enjoyed about this is that because he's the scientist, we have to show him doing science. And so he puts together the syringe and then he gets the whatever it is, the stimulant. And then he squirts it a little bit so you don't get any air bubbles. And the way that I was like, oh, are they going to do one of those, classic close-ups of a person getting an injection? And it's like, no, they hit it behind, like Roddy McDowell hit it behind his hand. But it was still effective. And it's like, this is what we're doing, the way that he responded to it. I thought it was really good. I don't know. Injection scenes always do it for me. Don't know why.
It's true. You have gone on about
hypodermic needles. Yeah.
Yeah. Hyper needles.
Yeah. I get enough shots to last a lifetime. I'll pass this.
I've had 7.
As James Caserta says, she talks nerdy, not dirty.
That is true. I apologize. I misspoke.
But the thing is, Scotty sometimes doesn't see a difference.
Well, they are. No, I'm not going to say
that. Yeah. And so Sam wants Mark to rest, which he does. He does get a couple hours nap. But Sam starts to hear some creepy tapping sounds. And Mark tries to get up again. He wants to go. Now he's ready to go plant the flag. He knows he's in a lot of pain, but he's gone through a lot. That he's traveled 35 million miles to get there.
Is that true? Is that a true distance?
It's almost true. The distance between Earth and Mars is a range between 36 million and 250 million miles, depending on
the orbit,
where it is in its orbit. Yeah.
You know what I found really interesting is that when he asked to go plant the flag, right before he said that, he said comrade. And I was like, wait a tick. Are these guys supposed to be Soviets?
Oh, I didn't even consider that.
I thought it was interesting. I don't know if they are. I guess based on their name. Like their names. Markuson is not a European name.
No, it's not Russian.
No.
Niet.
No, but at this point, Mark is insistent on getting out.
His name isn't
And
Mark.
Mark,
It's
well, yeah, it
Warren
is.
Markison. It says so in the opening narration, and I thought that was like an omission of things, or at least that's like, Montgomery Scott, you call Scotty. But it's like you are looking at Warren Markison, and Sam Conrad
Warren.
Warren. It says Warren Markison, but they always call Warren. They either call him Mark or Markison, and I was like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Did his parents call him Mark Markison?"
Oh,
And
yeah,
then
I don't know why they say Warren Markison, why all the credits say Mark Markinson. So,
well, it's just strange.
hold on. Let me check something here.
All right, I
Are we
opened a
allowed to
door,
call him Mark?
and there's a
Yeah,
window.
they call him Mark in the episode, so I'm gonna call him Mark all I like. Damn well,
Do what you
please.
want.
You
It's
can
your
call
show.
him Warren though. It's your
I won't.
vocal cord, so you can keep calling him Warren. I don't know why they
Okay.
call him Warren at the beginning and nobody else ever calls him Warren.
But they call like
Strange.
it's
Nobody
like,
calls him Warren.
yeah. Like Roddy McDowell is like moccasin, and then later on, and the way that his accent works, it sounds like moccasin, and I'm like, oh, he's a shoe.
Yeah.
But then later on,
It's a shoe.
he
That's why I just like
shortens
Mark.
it, and he's just like Mark, and it's like, what is this man's name? I don't know. I just call him Styles.
Nobody paid attention to the opening narration when doing the dialogue for this episode, so I don't know. Yeah, you call him Styles too. I'm okay with
Yes.
that. But
Great.
in any case, Mark is crawling around. Markison is crawling around despite being in great pain, trying to get the door open. Sam lies. He's blatantly lying here. The hydraulics are up, but Mark says that he could turn on the auxiliary, but then it's discovered that Sam just does not want to open the door. He's afraid.
Yes.
And
Fraidy cat.
Mark pleads, and I want you to plead, Scotty. Here, it's in the private chat.
Oh, I'm gonna plead. Okay, I won't Valley Girl this. I'll try my best. Oh, I get to be Styles. Okay, great. Sam, I'm busted up inside. I think I'm bleeding in there. Listen, Sam, I don't want to die in here. I want to see what I'm dying for. Was that good enough?
Yes, that was amazing.
Great.
he has a guess that if there are people on Mars, they may help him. So he's wants Sam to open the door. It's basically his only chance at survival. But by the time Sam decides to actually open it, it's too late. Mark.
What the heck?
They kill off Mark. They kill off Styles.
Well, speaking of injuries, I didn't see what that. Oh, I was just reading up on Canadian Spider-Man's hernia.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
Oh,
long
dear.
story short, small tear in my stomach and groin area, needs stitching. Get that looked at, man.
Oh no, that's not good. My goodness, and you're on vacation in Mexico? My goodness. And the USA is too expensive for medical in case anything happens, so not until it's fixed. Sometimes next year, hopefully.
Ouch.
Oh, that's not a thing you want to let sit on the shelf.
No.
Yay, that is quick for Canada, apparently. That's what Spidey says.
I don't know.
Yeesh.
I've never had any issues with Canadian medical, but
Yeah,
I've never
US
had a
might be-
hernia.
US might be expensive, but you'd get fixed in one day.
Well, I go to the
Anyway.
VA for my health care. So, anyways, I'm off topic.
I know, right? Let's talk about the Twilight
Good.
Zone. I
Good.
was concerned about my friend Canadian Spider-Man and his hernia.
Me
I'm just
too,
saying,
yeah.
take care of
Well,
that
I'm
shit.
glad he gets better soon.
Well, it's
I hope
okay.
so.
You're
You
concerned
better.
for your. our friend here, but he says tequila is good. Had a few gulps already. So it looks like he is self-medicating and we're going to be okay.
Okay. As long as you say so.
I don't know. I just have to know. Spidey promised me he will always be okay.
Yeah, no. I agree.
And
Anyway,
okay.
meanwhile, back to Dead Styles.
Yeah, he's dead now.
He's dead.
And well, because he wanted to see what he died for, but he never did get to. And Sam had the gun ready.
That was so selfish. Like, I really didn't feel bad for Roddy McDowell.
For Sam?
Yeah. Because he didn't even fight for his cohort, his comrade.
Yeah, he didn't.
If you will.
He didn't. Yeah, he kind of felt bad for him, but he was too scared to. He was too chicken shit to actually take action.
There you go, Gorilla. Buy a lottery ticket.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even. Is Gorilla even here? If he's not
no,
here,
he's not.
I
but
mean,
if he's listening on the re-rub,
when Gorilla isn't here, does he still buy a lottery ticket?
I don't know. Tree falls in the woods, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Oh,
so
that's also why you're in Mexico is for surgery. Whoa, okay.
That makes sense.
Way to go.
That's why I go to Vietnam for dentistry. It's super cheap. So this is something that I always, and this is something that I share with my my co-host on the Phantasmagorium. Whenever Kat notices like a gun in space, it's like, is it really logical to, you know, pack a firearm? Like laser guns, I understand, but
yeah, right.
A chemical combustion.
If you don't know what the true composition of the planet is, it might not make sense to have just a regular gun.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Don't take a revolver to the moon.
No, but luckily they're on Mars, and in this particular Mars, I guess the atmosphere is just like Earth.
Is there air? Well, now we know.
I don't know. No, the surgery's in Canada, but I may as well eat tacos while I wait. Oh.
Yes.
It's just fighting. Oh, okay. Well, as long as you're comfortable.
Send lawyers, guns, and money.
Space.
Anyway.
Ask Worf. All right. Nice. So the Martians here, they look just like humans. According to
they also look like.
According to. Go ahead.
They look like some of the best looking humans in the history of humans. Because, ladies and gentlemen, look at the screen. That's Susan Oliver.
Yeah, Susan Oliver.
She is one of the most underrated and prolific artists of the 20th century. Actress, model, director, writer. Susan Oliver she's less famous than Amelia Earhart, and all Amelia Earhart did was crash a plane.
Hey, we don't know if she crashed. She's lost forever.
We're pretty sure.
Maybe she went through another dimension. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, no, she showed up in the season 1 episode of fucking Voyager. Sorry about
That's exactly what I'm saying. She shows up in Voyager. I think she also shows up in didn't she also show up in the Orville? I forget.
I don't remember.
But I didn't know she was a writer, Susan Oliver. That's wonderful. And here she's playing a Martian. Her name, she's the only named Martian.
That's actually on her tombstone. And here she is playing a Martian.
Her name here was Tinia.
Tiana. Tina?
Tinia. I thought it was Tinia.
Tinia. No, you're right. Tinia.
Mm-hmm. And so they very, very easily relieve him of his weapon. And I like how at first they act like they can't understand him. And so he starts and
no.
But then they finally respond in English.
No, they don't act like they don't understand him. They act like he is a gerbil. They act like he's a puppy. I mean, it's like, oh, look at him trying to communicate with us. Isn't that adorable?
Stray dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Or maybe that's where they're transferring their powers so that he can communicate, and then they can understand him, because maybe they can't understand. Maybe they really can't understand him at first because they haven't done their telepathic communication two-way thing, which is what they do.
Yes. Now I thought, and I had a curiosity about this, and please feel free to dismiss it, but I thought that because there was, in the 1960s, there was like, oh no, we're part Martian, right? People still think we're part Martian. And I was under the...
It is possible there was life on Mars for some time until the magnetosphere drifted off away into space.
Okay, those were words. But I thought that humanity, I thought that this is where they were going. And I love both of the 10 out of 10. These are by far the two best episodes of the Twilight Zone that I've seen yet.
Really?
But yeah,
That's
no, I am through the moon.
This is one of my favorites too. I really get into the science fiction and the mind. Like they were, like how they could communicate. It was just amazing. It just sucked. It brings you right in. This particular episode, yeah.
Usually I just let it go by that aliens can speak English, but here they say no. You're speaking our language.
Right.
It's unconscious transference. You call it a hypnosis of sorts. So the aliens are telepathic. So they can talk to you through your mind, and you talk to them in that way.
Kind of like AI.
They seem so nice at first.
Well, they are nice.
Because they're going to bury Mark. They're going to find him a place to live while they fix his ship so he can go home. And he's kind of upset that... Yeah, of course they're lying, but
they're being very gracious.
But he's taken off guard by it because he's remembering Mark's words that people are like all over. And then he thinks, oh, well, y'all just look just like me. Everything must be okay.
No, you forget. People are alike all over.
Yeah, man, that is...
You guys getting a lot of background noise from me? Is it quiet?
No, you sound...
There's no background.
You sound good.
Velvety.
You sound good.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so also in the original story from Brothers Beyond the Void, from March 1952 issue of Fantastic Adventures, also in that story, the Martians were 4.5 feet tall, and they were not ugly or especially beautiful. So they wouldn't have looked as pretty as Suzanne Oliver, apparently.
Aren't you 4 feet tall?
No, 5.
Well, close enough.
So Sam wants to learn about the Martians, and they agree that they'll answer his questions. And he introduces himself to Tina. And she says, you have to believe the Martians won't hurt you. They're not going to hurt you.
Well, and that's true. It is true. Like there is a melancholy sadness that comes from Tina. That is like, no, I promise we're not going to hurt you. You may not like what we're going to do to you, but we're not going to hurt you.
Yeah, you can see the compassion come through on her.
Yeah.
So which one of these is... she's the only one who's regretful about any of this that's going on. But which one of these is Vic Perrin?
That's a good question. No, Vic Perrin, wasn't he Styles? No, Vic Perrin's probably the middle guy.
Well,
is that the guy? Is that the guy from Mirror Mirror?
Yes.
Holy moly!
It is. If you look
I didn't
carefully,
even
yeah.
recognize him.
Well, on the next episode, there's someone that I recognize right away from Lost in Space. But we'll get into
Sure.
that.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Well, here he's the control voice in the Outer Limits, and like you said, he was also in Mirror Mirror. He's one of those aliens the peaceful aliens, where Kirk
Isn't that
says
weird
we
that
could
they were
we could.
peaceful in both the regular universe and the mirror universe? Like they didn't swap.
It's true.
That
That's
the
just
Mirror
how good they
Universe,
were.
That's
I
a great
guess.
episode.
It is. Oh,
The
come
Mir-
on.
that Mirror.
But not
It's
only
one of my
but not
favorite.
only that. Oh yes, it is the top episode, no doubt.
It's like top five. Top five. Don't go crazy.
Oh, that's crazy. Like top 10 of the original series is standout awesome. Just because like 50 episodes of Star Trek the original series are good. So
Captain, I'm
Uhura, you're the only one who can do it. I'll be right there.
yes, sir.
Love that music in the background. Oh my God, it's
We just got demonetized, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for playing. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
why would we get demonetized? No, that one I can play.
You can? Great.
I've gotten away with that one. Yeah. On several.
Woochie coochie coo, Captain.
So I I want to say hello to Swift -1, otherwise known as Matt G.
Matt G.
Hey, Swift, Matt G, what's up?
Okay, so not only is he from Mirror Mirror, but he also, one thing I didn't know was that he plays Nomad's voice from The Changeling. And he's also the Metron from Arena, but he's uncredited.
Wow.
He does have a face for voiceovers.
Yep. So these Martians, they have a surprise for Tom. It's going to be Sam. They have a surprise for Sam. I don't know why I said Tom.
I don't know.
But he wants Tinia to go along, and she seems pretty sad about it, but she agrees. Sad isn't quite the right word, but I can't figure out exactly. Remorseful. The Martians have made a home for Sam, and they knew how to build it by reading his mind. So this is their telepathic powers working again.
And this is where it gets like the Martian Chronicles, like on the second mission. If you remember, they landed and it looked like a town, like their old town. It was built up, and they were actually the Martians messing with their heads, creating it in their minds. It's kind of like has that similarity to the house, the way they had the house.
Yeah, I was wondering, did they really build his house in that short of a time, or is this partially an illusion?
No, I think that they read his mind and then constructed it through some sort of matter telemutation.
I guess that makes it more entertaining as a zoo exhibit to get it exactly right. Except for it doesn't have any windows. How creepy is that?
Yep.
The weirdest thing, and this is like I was like, oh, there's a bar. Oh, there are cigarettes. And the thing is, when he says, oh, look, there's a television, and he doesn't turn it on. And I was like, well, I would like to know what channels you get on Mars.
I wonder if they got HBO Max.
Yeah, come on.
Oh.
Do Martians Netflix and chill? I'm such a boomer.
Well, part of the reason why I wonder how much is real and how much is an illusion is because when he drinks the scotch, he says this is the best he's ever had because they've gone into his mind and they know what the scotch should taste like. So they've made it amazing.
What's the first thing you do with a prisoner is make them placid, and the best way to do that, scotch and smokes.
But it takes even if you're an alien, it takes a while to make scotch. So I don't know. Is it really?
But
scotch
not if you're the robot.
Not if we get Robbie in here.
Exactly.
is it?
See?
Oh, right, Robbie the robot. Good call. Good call. Okay, you got me on that one. But
I can synthesize everything in approximately 7 minutes if you wait.
is it really Scotch, or is it just he just believes it is in his mind because they can telepathically make him
Oh,
believe it's Scotch?
you're
Just
really
like
hung up on that.
just like they can take away his gun so easily, and he doesn't even think about it. He just hands it over. It's because it reminds me of The Cage, that's why, and that reminds you guys of The Cage too, and
Mhm.
in that story, everything is an illusion. We see that it's an illusion, that he's not really drinking the things that he thinks he's drinking,
Well, no, but the thing
It's
is
just
that,
this blue liquid.
like, spoilers for the end of the episode, it says man in his natural habitat. So I do think that they recreated it. I do think that they actually made it as comfortable as possible. And this is what I think about Susan Oliver in this episode, is she's like, it's it's wrong to cage one of these people, and she's being a vegan essentially. Like, she's like, oh, I wouldn't do anything negative to an animal, and humanity is an animal. And so I do think that the Martian intent is to make it so that everybody is, or like this guy Sam, is happy in his cell, gilded prisons, if you will.
Yes, they might not think they're being cruel at all. The only one
Right.
who can see it is Tina.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is like, when, like when people say SeaWorld is wrong, that's Tina.
Yes. Well, you can tell when it's wrong because when their dorsal fins are flipped over, they're not getting good enrichment. When you go to SeaWorld, they're always flipped over. But when I go to my local aquarium where they take the dolphins out into the ocean and then for some time, and then they bring them back to their habitat, their dorsal fins are never flipped over like that. It's a sign of not just unhappiness, but not being healthful.
Like
And so you can
malnourishment.
tell. No, it's not malnourishment. It's just like they're not getting enough exercise. They're not getting enough strength
Well,
building
can you give
enrichment.
me longitude and latitude on this? Because I'm from the future and I have to save the Earth from a probe, and so I need a couple of dolphins.
Oh, yes,
Oh.
that's right. Well, fortunately, we have more than two. So you're not going to be stuck with. Yeah, you get but there's no dolphins in the future. It's so sad.
Well, no,
I'm
they
only thinking
left.
this.
They said thank you and
Oh,
for all the fish.
oh, that's the setup. I'm
Yeah.
glad we made it.
It takes a while sometimes, all right? So that is the end of that episode.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
So since they
Hey,
made
DJ.
him feel at home. Oh, right. Yeah, okay. So I forgot this line when he was at the bar. If it's an illusion, a guy can live with it. That's the best scotch I ever drink. And that's the line that made me think, twice
Oh,
about
okay.
the scotch. So they even say it.
You know what? It was interesting because he does, like, he lights a cigarette and he looks at it, and there's like, why? Like, why was that a directorial choice to look at the cigarette?
I'm not sure.
Nor, I don't know. I don't even want to hypothesize, because, like, I'm looking at cigarettes through a 21st century lens, and it's like, well, because it would say the brand or something on the cigarette. Like, but he looks at it and he's just like, my stars, tobacco. Like, I don't understand what the significance of that was. DJ Knight,
I don't know.
better take a
But the
break.
thing is, they basically gave him fire, so he could set the place on fire if he wanted to. I don't know if he's gonna do that, but
No, but this is the best question. This is the best question for the chat, for everybody. Do we have a poll? Is there a poll yet?
There is the poll.
Okay, I got a vote.
He pleads to the Martians, asking why they've done this to him. Unlike the Telosians, they will not understand that humans don't want to be locked up. And only Tina can understand, like we've said already.
Do you think he can get conjugal visits?
I don't know.
Well,
if
come
she likes
on,
him
it's
that
a
much.
zoo. It's a zoo. 90% of the
a-
reason that I go to the zoo is to watch monkeys masturbate. Sorry.
Well, he's gonna have to do that to himself.
Well, I know, but I wouldn't want anyone to watch me. That's why I'm better than a monkey. And so that's why conjugal visits, like even Nagilum in that second season Next Generation episode, and it's like, I would like to see you fornicate. And it's like, that's not happening.
No.
But that would be a thing that people who are viewing a zoo creature, they would be like, so that's why people are so disappointed in pandas, is that they never do the coitus.
Well, I guess they're gonna have to wait for Lady Astronaut to make it to Mars. So
Who knows
But what
they
about
really
Tanya?
look like?
Tanya,
but
I
she's not
don't know.
human. No,
So?
but I also have a question as to whether or not the Martians actually look like that, or if they read his mind and made them look
You
like
are so,
humans.
my God.
I agree.
You're
I had
just
that same
obsessed with
thought.
the manipulation of the human mind. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, Master.
No, you're not interrupting me. No,
You're the
just
first
had
person
the
to ever
same
say
thought that I just had the thought. Well, I am probably polite to a fault sometimes, but it's just. But I digress. No, but what I'm saying is we don't know if they were projecting beaming those images like. Did they really look like this? For all we know, they could have been like 3 foot high and look like ET. If they were projecting that into his mind, I plausible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel that way because even Serling was putting human dimensions in the opening and closing. Wait a minute. Did we read the closing narration?
No,
I think
not
we
yet.
forgot.
No,
Okay, let's do that. It's time.
It's Master's
All right.
job.
All right, it's in the private chat.
Closing
Please read
narration.
it.
I gotcha. Species of animal brought back alive. Interesting similarity in physical characteristics to human beings in head, in trunk, arms, legs, and feet. Very tiny. Undeveloped brain. Comes from this primitive planet called Earth. Calls himself Samuel Conrad. And he will remain there in this cage with running water and electricity and central heat as long as he lives. Samuel Conrad has found the Twilight Zone. Dun 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 dun.
Well, and it's so.
I got goosebumps.
Yeah.
That gave me goosebumps reading that.
I would live there. If I crash landed on Mars and they put me in a zoo in that kind of lovely home.
You'd be okay with that, but
I'd be
eventually you'd want to
fine.
go.
I'd be
But eventually,
fine.
eventually you'd want to go for a walk, go to the arcade, go to the library. You wouldn't be like.
But I would.
They don't.
Like, I think that I would be able to make requests. Can I have a pinball machine?
Or some Martian weed? Do you have marijuana on this planet? I'm not staying.
Well, you know what? I would give. This is how much I adore that cell. I would give up weed just for the free cigarettes and booze.
No, I can't drink, so the booze wouldn't work.
Well, it's not your cell. You can ask for Slurpees.
I see. Okay.
You can get
Mountain Dew, Long Island iced teas.
Home.
You can have Long
Oh, you're
Island
okay.
iced teas.
Yeah, I don't like ice
So
cream.
you're okay with being the zoo animal?
Yeah. Why do you think I'm on YouTube?
For 37,
Oh.
he is appreciating the fine things he'll miss. Oh, he thinks that he's running out of cigarettes. Maybe they'll make them for him.
Well, no, I've started a
him a
tobacco
liquor.
farm. Thank you for noticing.
Terran zoos have chimpanzees, Martian zoos have humans, yes. And dolphins and elephants, very intelligent creatures, should they be.
But isn't it
in
great
zoos.
to see Roddy McDowell being the zoo creature when Charlton Heston was the same in Planet of the Apes? Like, this is amazing. And this is sort of a partnership of sorts for a couple of movies with Rod Serling, or like at least a couple of dramatizations between Roddy McDowell and Rod Serling. So I think that's great. Brogu!
Brogu's here. Hello, everyone. Hello, Jill. Hope everyone's having a
Brogu.
wonderful day today. I hope you are too.
Also, Greek letters. I wanted to say, shut up, DJ. So I didn't mean that out loud. So anyway, I wanted to say that Greek letters, I hope that you don't feel colorblind because the Jedi Master is in color. So now you don't have to feel like
I
your
think it
brain is
helps.
broken.
Yeah, DJ, that's true. I hope that doesn't bother anybody else in that way. I never considered that would be something that could be disturbing. But if there's one thing Twilight Zone should be, is disturbing. So I'm still cool with it. DJ
Great.
Knight. Hello, DJ Play Nice. How are you doing today?
Yeah. He said he was Greek. I was going to say Yasu to him in Greek real quick. And that means hello.
I don't speak Spanish.
I speak Greek fluently.
Really?
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's
That's
my
incredible.
second language. Opus
Can
milao
you
americana
do me a quick? Can you do me a quick favor? Can you translate something very, very quickly?
It depends on what it is.
It's the opening narration. It's the opening narration to the Twilight Zone. Can you say it in Greek?
It would be a long.
Well, I don't.
It would be very difficult. My Greek is really good, but
can you say "live long and prosper" in Greek?
The zisi makria ke denise eftohi. May you be rich and not poor. Eftohia means poverty. Plusha means rich. There's a lot of slang. There's slang Greek, and then they have Pondiaca. There's like 3 different dialects.
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I did.
Yeah. Ise kitasi mekapos. Species in Greek. God, I don't remember that one. But Theopodia zo metamicrokefali pumulene stiwaren anthropo que marcus in trienda pendeo cronia que to semial in a trienda anachronon. There, it would be really hard for me to translate this whole thing.
No,
really
it's cool. It's cool.
Tatoparo.
Thank you.
Yep. Sto dromos, sto diastema. That's pretty much as. And to evralo, sto xilili, stacheri.
And now can you type out the subtitles?
Absolutely not. Now, if I was to go in a restaurant and started talking to a Greek person, it would definitely flow. But for me to sit here and read and translate is a little bit difficult.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
In that
that's
way.
Fair enough. I'm sorry for putting you.
No, you didn't bust me. No, I speak Greek. I can speak pretty good, but like I said, it's got to be with a Greek person.
Well, he's right there in the chat.
I just wanted to say Yasu Tikanis. Post That's what I said. I hope you and yours are well. Okay, enough of me.
Nice.
No, I asked. Don't apologize. I'm the one who started this.
So I wanted to agree with Sigvaldus in here. This is a great point. You would expect them to experiment on them. Well, if they can manipulate his mind, he could go for a walk and never leave the cage. So he could think he's leaving his house to go play.
No.
But
I loved that moment where he went and he lit his cigarette and then he got some, I think he got some water. He was playing with the sink and he looked and he was like, this is usually where a window is. I loved that moment, and it was show, don't tell. It was absolutely in the performance and the set design. And it was just like, this is weird. And then he starts looking around and he's like, can I see outside? And the answer is no.
Nope.
I loved that. It was like dramatically perfect. The discovery of his entrapment was phenomenal.
His eyes, Scotty. You see the way he looked.
Yeah,
And then
his
the kids were backing
discovery.
up. Yeah, everybody was afraid of him, like he was a wild animal. Like when he was in the cage holding it, like we would react.
Get your hands off of me, you damn dirty human.
No, but
he was betrayed. He was betrayed. And Greek Letters Larson says,
water closet.
What?
Water closet.
Greek Letters Larson says, don't forget humans are living in modern zoos like Big Brother TV shows, where they even are observed having sexual activities, so no big deal. That's true, but they do that. They get into those situations willingly.
Yeah.
They choose to be there. But I'd like to say hello to Retro Scotty. Hello. I expect over time they might let him see things, especially as time passes and some Martians feel empathy for him. Oh, that would be interesting to see. And then, but I like the contrast with the cage where the Telosians realize, oh, hey, maybe some humans don't really like this as much as Vina does.
Yeah. I mean, it's a human reaction. Freedom is our, and most people, we don't want to be confined, as humans. So the aliens don't realize that because they think of us as a lesser life form. So, like a gerbil or a hamster or even, a large lizard that we would keep in a cage. They probably look at this animal from this planet, and our brains are so much, we have the ability to do all these things with our minds. We're going to use this guy, and we're going to, who knows if they charged a mission to look at him, or, it's just a human zoo.
You think they might have set some bait?
Exactly. That's just a theory.
That's a good one. That's what makes the Twilight Zone really interesting, because they're short episodes. You can extend them in your mind, especially the good ones. But we're going to move on to the episode Execution, which aired April 1st, 1960. And it was directed by David Orrick McDearman, with the story by credit going to George Clayton Johnson, and the teleplay by Rod Serling. And we don't have a... Okay, I'm going to read the opening narration, because we're getting started with this next episode. Commonplace, if somewhat grim, unsocial event known as a necktie party. The guest of dishonor, a cowboy named Joe Caswell, just a moment away from a rope, a short dance, several feet off the ground, and then the dark eternity of all evil men. Mr. Joe Caswell, who, when the good Lord passed out a conscience, a heart, a feeling for fellow man, must have been out for a beer and missed out. Mr. Joe Caswell, in the last quiet moment of a violent life.
And I know you can recognize that guy with the noose on his head if you've watched around his neck. Watch Lost in Space, season 1, episode 19.
Oh, you're right. He does. Is he the pirate?
The Sky Pirate, yet salami. I noticed that as soon as I started watching the episode. I told my wife, he's on Lost in Space.
I didn't catch it. I knew him from somewhere, but I even though I saw the episode with
He's more portly. He was more portly in that picture, Jill.
Mm-hmm. Well, in this case, he's the criminal, a murderer, several times murderer, and he's finally having to pay for his crime. So, oh right, what's his name? Joe Caswell is played by Albert Salmi. Yeah, you're right, from Lost in Space. Let me see. What else did you do? There was a bit of a tragedy about him, wasn't he? Wasn't there? Forget. Yeah, he was a character actor. So yeah, you're right. He was in a lot of things.
Yeah.
I didn't watch a whole lot of 60s television, but he was in westerns. Escape from the Planet of the Apes. Empire of the Ants. That sounds like fun. He was also in Caddyshack.
He was in Escape from the Planet of the Apes?
Yeah, that's what it says here. Let's see which role.
What? Yeah, because that's one of my favorite Planet of the Apes movies is the escape when they go back in time on Earth and they find him on Earth. That was a spectacular.
He plays E1. Who E1? Whoever that is. I haven't seen this. Oh no.
Did I miss the opening narration?
Yes, but I'll give you the closing narration. I had to get started.
Okay,
it was
I know.
I read the chat. I read the chat and it was time.
All right. You're the boss.
So, but we're at the beginning, so you didn't miss much.
Yeah, well. This is my favorite episode of Twilight Zone that I've seen so far.
That's wild.
This is like 17 out of 10. This is my favorite. Russell Johnson. I've been trying to remember his name for like 12 hours.
Russell Johnson. Yeah. Okay. We haven't gotten to the professor yet, but we will get to him. Right now we're with Albert Salmi playing Joe Caswell, who also played that pirate, the space pirate from Lost in Space.
Nice.
And well, he's here. I like how the opening narration says that whenever God was handing out feelings for other people, he must have Joe must have been out for a beer and missed out on getting empathy installed in him.
You know what I really love about this episode is that they establish immediately that this guy is a son of a bitch.
Yeah, he even refuses prayer because, that's not going to get him out of this mess. And he doesn't care about his soul. He blames the death of the man he killed on that man's mouth. So victim blaming. And
he shot him in the back.
Yeah, so it wasn't
like
even
in old westerns, it's like he shot a man in the back, and it's like, well, that guy's the son of a bitch.
Right. If it would have been a normal duel. And
even the dad says that.
Mm-hmm.
That's like 12 miles away from a proper duel.
And I love the dad wants him to suffer. He wants him to suffer.
So do I. And he does.
Well, and
this is an execution.
It's an execution. He's on a horse, so they shoo the horse away so that the prisoner has nothing to do but be hanged. Only this time.
You guys already said that was the guy from the cage, right?
Oh, which guy? Which one?
The priest.
The priest? He is?
That's the old man. That's Vena's dad, quote unquote, from the cage.
Can you make that picture bigger? I gotta
no.
his face. Oh well, wow. But yeah, it is him. I got to get new reading.
Jill is currently frenzied typing to find a picture of the guy.
No,
but that's and so this is like a 1-2 uppercut Cage actors. You got Susan Oliver,
Mhm.
and I apologize, sir, but that guy.
That guy. It says he was in actually it says 3 episodes. Well, the menagerie. Okay. Well, okay.
Yeah,
it
same
was.
deal.
Episodes.
Menage.
He was in the cage. Oh, but it also says he was in Return of the Archons.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense.
And for the world is hollow, and I have touched the sky.
One of my top 5 episodes of Star Trek ever, original series. And yes, it is. He's the guy who says, "For the world is hollow, and I have touched the sky."
Credited only as Old Man.
Yes, in every episode of any television show he has ever been in, he is always credited as the Old Man. His first television appearance was when he was 19, and he was credited as the Old Man.
Captain Tucker R.
And that some people
So-
do just look old forever.
Not me.
Well, I'm probably a little older than both of y'all, so
You look 37.
I'm 60 years old, Scotty.
Shut your fucking door.
I just turned 60 in January, pal.
You know what? I apologize for the swear, because usually people say shut the front door, but I had to drop the swear in there for some reason. And it's crass. No, you look great.
My dad was 91 and had full head of hair when he passed away, so good genes, I guess, DNA.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm.
So anyway,
So Joe disappears. Joe disappears.
But then I love this art, like directorial decision, is that it shows his silhouette disappearing, but then it also shows it again with it reappearing. And I was like, that's an odd choice until you get to the end of the episode. And then you find out why such a thing would happen. Like when they're like, what is that? And it's like, what are you talking about? Are you upset that he's gone? Because I thought I saw that the silhouette reappeared. And then you find out at the end. It's great. Gavin.
Oops.
Mm-hmm. Gavin says, yes, Reger got him killed for mocking the lawgivers.
Rhaegar. I think. I don't know. Haven't seen it in a couple days.
Yeah, I'm kind of flying blind on this episode. I started watching it until actually a half of it, and then I had to go do something. So I'm gonna more or less listen mostly because I didn't get to watch the whole refresh.
That's all right, because we're being sent into, or at least Joe is being sent into the future somehow. The future. He's being pulled from the past into the future, and he's been rescued from his execution.
Yes.
By the professor from Gilligan's Island.
Yes.
But
I was so happy to see him.
Me too.
I've heard the legend of Russell Johnson.
He's a great actor.
And yeah, like it's one of those things that I wish that he had never like if this guy was a dick, he would be Tina Louise.
Well,
Tina Louise famously did not enjoy her fame from.
She still doesn't. She goes into an interview where everybody wants to talk about Gilligan's Island, and she's like, "Look at the book I wrote. That has nothing to do with anything that anybody actually wants to talk about."
Yeah, I'm Tina Louise. Marianne got menopause and died. That's the name of my book.
Hey, Marianne, what the? Oh no,
Dawn
she's
Wells.
not that. Dawn, she's not that crude.
No, I am.
But she's
Sorry.
not. She's not appreciative of her time. She's sick of it. She was sick of it,
Well-
and she didn't go back to the movies.
But I enjoy that Russell Johnson is a little bit
Didn't enjoy it.
whimsical about his time.
Yes, he is.
Like he
Well,
looks
went
back
back
on
to the
it
movies.
fondly
Everybody
because
did.
it did provide. And so I do.
Well,
And
here,
also it's like going and watching the gunfight at the OK Corral and seeing DeForest Kelly. And it's like, oh yeah. DeForest
yeah,
Kelly's
DeForest Kelly's been in the OK Corral 3 times, one of which being Star Trek.
yeah.
I'm a doctor.
But-
I'm not a doctor. I'm a gunfighter.
Yeah, well, he wanted to be 2 things growing up, a cowboy and a doctor, and he got to be both.
7 times. But I know it's so amazing to see Russell play a scientist.
Yeah, Professor
Seriously?
Mannion. Professor Mannion. And it was great to be able to call him Professor the entire time.
That facial expression is says a lot right there. Just his facial expression.
Someone should screen cap this and make it Studio Ghibli.
So,
do we have Gilligan's Island Studio Ghibli?
Probably somebody does. I don't know how to do that because by the time
I don't either because I'm not that way.
So, where are we? We're pulling Joe from the past into the future, and the professor shows him a capsule with controls inside, which was the object of his escape. So he's 80. Joe has been pulled 80 years into the future to New York City. And so let's get this part out of the way. In order for this time machine to have been able to manipulate the past in order to pick up this man from the past and bring him into the future, this story is going to be malleable timeline because they're changing the timeline by sending by having a time machine manipulate the past to pull him out of the past into the future. So it's all the same timeline.
I think it's kind of like
the time travel is just to the future until the end when it goes back to the past, showing that it was in fact, one timeline forward and back.
Well, no, but okay. So what exactly happened in the past? The guy was taken from his execution.
Yes, he is pulled into the future.
He gets pulled into the future. And that's in like what, 1890 or something?
Yes, 18 was it 1880 or 1890?
Yes. No, it was 1880. You're correct.
18.
And then spoilers.
Yeah.
At the end of the episode, someone else is sent back and rightfully executed for the crime.
Yes.
It's just a different guy. And also, what happens in the past is absolutely undocumented. It's just witnesses, hayseed witnesses. Like, they have no way to be like, the only way that they can say it is like, I saw the craziest thing, I tell you. And that's it.
Oh, shit.
There's no pictures. There's no documentation. Did we kill the guy? Well, we killed a guy.
Let's elaborate on that when we get there.
Yes.
But I just wanted to point out that the storytelling for the time travel is extremely simple, and I'm gonna go by the way it's written.
Well, and the thing is, and this is the beauty of taking a person at the moment of death from the past into the future is that they're already dead. As far as the world is concerned in 1880 or 1880, like
Joe's
the
supposed
guy's
to be dead.
dead. He dead. He's not doing anything.
And yet he was pulled from his death into the future by this scientist who doesn't even know who Joe really is. So
he's just looking for dead guys in the past.
Yeah, exactly. So Joe, the man who murdered a young man in cold blood for saying the wrong thing, is now the subject of this scientific experiment, and the
He said,
professor
I
is
love
taking
Kathleen Kennedy. And then he was murdered in cold blood.
the.
Sorry.
Nobody's gonna do that to anybody for liking some
I've been shot in the back twice over it.
ill-minded producer. No, you weren't.
I like Alex Kurtzman. And then Jill shot me in the back.
But you don't like Alex Kurtzman. I know you don't.
That's true. That's also true.
I'd like to say hello to Devil Flyer Momentum. Yeah, he's here. What good news. And anyway, the professor's taking notes on Joe. He still doesn't know his past, but he's kind of getting a sense that he doesn't like. The professor says, his name is Joseph Caswell. He tells me he was a trail boss on a cattle ranch in the territory of Montana. His last moment of recollection was November 14th, 1880. He says he was riding herd when suddenly he blacked out. He awoke to find himself on the cot of my laboratory. And so there's his little tape recorder where he recorded this message. And the professor also records that he's worried about these unexplained rope marks all around his throat. And though it is
Hang 'em High?
No.
It's a Clint Eastwood movie.
Irrelevant to rope marks around your neck?
Yeah, sort of the same thing as Inglourious Bastards. It's like, yeah, Aldo Rain has a rope mark around his neck, but they never explain it. But in Hang 'em High, like it's about a man who does justice because he was hanged.
Oh, right. Is it one of those cases where if you're hanged incorrectly, it's double jeopardy and you can't be hanged again?
I don't know. I'm not David Carradine.
Okay, so though it's unscientific, the professor adds further notes that he just basically doesn't like the way Joe looks.
Makes sense. Shifty eyes. I would say the same thing.
I get a feeling of disquiet. I get a feeling that I've taken a 19th century primitive and placed him in a 20th century jungle. And heaven help whoever gets in his way.
This is one of the reasons that I really think that I like this episode so much, is because it's two different things. One is about a man being caged. People are alike everywhere. And this one is about a man being released and not knowing what to do with it. Also, smoking.
Yeah, then that's a good
This
point.
episode has been brought to you by Lucky Strikes.
The first one is a civilized man being caged up like an animal, and the second one's a wild animal being freed.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love this. This is my favorite so far. This is my
honestly,
favorite.
Scotty, I've loved all of these Twilight Zones almost on an equal level, so I'm glad you enjoyed this one. I haven't felt up or down too much by any of them. Except, of course, my favorite, which you would think is the worst one so far.
Yeah, no, it's pretty stupid.
No, it's not. It can happen.
No, Jill, can I tell you just a brief story? I was telling my mom about this because we talk. And I was telling my mom about this episode of The Twilight Zone. And I was like, that is the best episode of Twilight Zone I've ever seen. You know what other people think is the best episode of Twilight Zone? It's this stupid episode where somebody finds a library and breaks their glasses. It's fucking retarded.
It's because you don't love books as much as I do.
Yeah,
the way he hugs the books, the way he finds
send you a book
in it, and I will enjoy it. Every time I get, every time somebody shows off toys on a live stream, I don't want to buy them. But they show up.
I also.
I've got to get it.
You should go back and edit out when I said the F and R.
Yeah, because it's not.
It's not, and also it's really derogatory. And I apologize for my misnomers.
What a nice chemistry set.
That's right. And you
Yeah,
know
but
what?
see,
He
this
restrains
bothered me.
himself. He also
This
doesn't play with it.
he reaches for it though. And I was like, come on, man. You're a cold-blooded killer. You've seen a glass before. Just because it's a smaller, thin glass doesn't mean that you'd be like, ooh, what is this technology? Like he
But
gets it.
it's in a strange configuration, and then he sees a lighter. So there's fire
Yeah, no,
right from the air.
he thinks matches are the only source of fire.
Yes. Wait a minute.
But this is like I do like this. Like this is something. What if a guy from 1960 were to show up in 2025 and then you throw him a cell phone? He wouldn't even know what a well, no, he would know what a phone is.
Well, he would have reference to television. He'd be like, "This is like a teeny tiny television or something."
Why is your
And
television so big? 60 inches. There you go. Clip that.
60 inches?
No,
Yeah.
not you shouldn't have said that. Now everyone's gonna clip that.
Well, anyway, Joe's marveling at the lighter, but he's insisting on going out. He wants to see the horseless carriages that the professor is talking about. But
I think this is amazing.
we see that just opening the window to the city, the lights and the cars and the sounds are already too much for Joe, and he's just at the window.
That's amazing, though, and I absolutely adore the reaction from the actor. Is when he's looking down, like this is the highest up he would ever be to see such stuff. Like there are no airplanes. I guess if he went up on a mountain and looked down and said, "Yep, cactuses," but like this is incredible. Like this is a marvel of modern ingenuity that he gets to observe for the first time. I would freak out if I showed up in if I showed up in 80 years and I was like hovering cities. It's like, yep.
Yes, but also the professor is finally putting two and two together and realizes Joe is a murderer.
Yeah, well,
And
he
Joe
finds
doesn't
out.
he doesn't bother denying it. In fact, he lets us in on a little secret. It wasn't just that one guy he shot in the back. He's killed 20 people.
See, and this is the thing, and this is the fatal flaw of Russell. And he's like, well, I have to send you back to your own death. Yeah, he is kind of stupid because well, I don't want to say it that way. Never tell.
Well, then maybe foolish.
Foolish, I guess. But don't tell the guy. It seems that you have some infection, Mr. What's his last name?
Infection? Who's
no
customer?
The bad guy. Carlson?
I just call him Joe.
Okay, so it
Caswell.
seems that you have a Coswell. So, Mr. Coswell, it seems that we just have one more thing that we have to do. Can you step into the phone booth and just going to push some buttons, make sure that you're free of infection because, you know, there have been diseases since before and we want to make sure. Anyway.
Boop. Oh, right. You want to see the horseless carriages? Well, it's right this way. Have you ever heard of
Yeah.
This is how we get. You see how we're really high up? This will get you back down.
Exactly. This is an elevator. What's an elevator? You'll find out.
Yeah, it's all the lights and the electronics and the stuff around them. Yeah, he's like maybe thinking this could be like some kind of illusion too. You think? You might be dreaming all this crap.
Well, yeah. If you're coming to the future and you don't recognize anything, maybe you do think you're dreaming.
Or you're in a bad delusion, like.
Well,
Hmm?
No, I'm
Joe
just
says,
saying,
I
like, he
died
being
once already.
Oh, I do like that. Yeah. Well, much like Spock. I
Okay, do you want
died
to read it?
before.
There's a lot.
Oh yeah, no. Is there a lot? I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll be
It's
a
mostly
fucking. Oh, I'm sorry about the swear. But yeah, not really. I died already, mister. I've been to hell. Now I'm back. Who's going to be the professor?
in those men that you killed, Coswell. They died with no discomfort.
You just talking words, Justice, right and wrong. They sound good in this nice warm room with a nice full stomach, just a few feet away from a soft bed. They sound nice and they go down easy. But you just try 'em on an ice cold messer where another man's bread or another man's jacket stands between you and staying alive. You get in this machine of yours and you go back to where I was and you talk about your law and your order and your justice. They're going to sound different, mister. I know you're kind, you're clean-faced, you're Johnny-come-lately dandies. You come out in your warm trains rolling over the graves of men like me. I just hate your kind. Smash, smash. I believe is what happens after that.
Yes, right. He thought Joe throttles the professor.
He busts him up with a lamp.
He's such a jerk, and I never understood people who behave this way. This visceral, violent nature, base level madness that tells them they're the only people in the world that matter, and everyone else exists either to serve them or they must be destroyed. And this is Joe. Yeah, I don't understand that kind of insanity that wills them to do this
But
kind of thing.
don't you think that there is a certain level of and they tell you at the hop of this episode that this man is ridiculously terrible. But when he explains it like that, and I know I dramatized it, but it's
Yeah, you're supposed to.
Yeah, in 1880, in 1880, it's called survival of the fittest. We don't. It harkens back to the speech that Quark gives in the Siege of AR. And it's
And
like
I know
humans.
I know the line you're talking about. The line you're talking about that's like that is they sound nice and good, and they go down easy. Okay, but he says, where is it? They sound good in this nice warm room with a nice full stomach, just a few feet away from a soft bed. And yes, that does remind you of the Quark speech. Sure, I'll get it.
You take away their sonic showers and their replicators,
Well,
and
let
they
me
will
get it.
become as despicable as the worst feral.
Do you want to read it or just
No, I'll read it. I'll
ad-lib
read
it?
Quark. I'll be Quark.
Okay.
Unless the master cares to be Quark. I just read something, so it's kind of his turn.
Oh, Quark.
Yeah, you got to be Quark. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
let me get the
be
precise.
Ferengi.
Yeah, you
Good,
get to
I'll
be a
be
Ferengi.
Ferengi
That's
for a
the kind
minute.
of show
I
it
get to
is,
be-
yo.
Damn. I don't know if I'm going to sound like a Ferengi, but I'll sure give it a good go.
No, you're halfway there.
Oh,
I mean that with love.
That's a weird thing with the way Deep Space Nine depicted the Ferengi, but they did develop their characters.
Yeah, they're good.
Anyway.
Greed is good.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is this it right here?
This is you.
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something about humans, nephew. They're wonderful, friendly people as long as their bellies are full and their hollow sweets are working. But take away their creature of comforts, deprive them of food, sleep, sonic showers, put their lives in jeopardy over an extended period of time, and those same friendly, intelligent, wonderful people will become as nasty and violent as most of the bloodthirsty Klingons. I don't even know what Quark sounds like. It's been so long I haven't watched. I've shame on me for not watching.
You're doing great. You're doing great. Finish it off.
Yes.
Finish it off.
You don't believe me? Look at these faces. Look in their eyes. You know I'm right, don't you? Well, aren't you going to say something?
I feel sorry for the Jem'Hadar. I should have said that more like Nog, but I'm okay with closing it out like that.
Well, that's okay.
That's the same
well,
kind
no,
of
that was
idea.
a good reading, except when you say human in Ferengi, you have to say
human. Yeah.
Human. Yeah. You humans. There we go.
Don't worry about it. We'll talk about it all next week on our new podcast, Rediscovering Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, because I need to catch up.
Oh yeah, we've only reviewed 2 episodes of Deep Space Nine on this channel. We might need to.
It's kind of
rectify that.
Yeah, we do.
I have not watched much of Deep Space Nine in my life.
You're racist, Wonka?
No, I love that.
No, I'm joking.
I know. No. I just kind of, when Star Trek, the original series, ended and they brought up Next Generation, I really enjoyed the first. I enjoyed Next Generation, and then they started with Deep Space Nine and Voyager. I thought they were just like over Star Trekking me for a while, but I would like to check out Deep Space Nine. I hear it's really
Oh man. I was so happy in the 90s when Star Trek was just riding me, and I was like, this is all I want. This is all I want. Like Deep Space Nine and Voyager, I couldn't get enough at certain moments, because other moments I was, interacting in 3D ways. But I love those. People would ask me about Stargate. People would ask me about the X-Files. And I would be like, yeah, no, if I watch TV, it's all Star Trek. It's all Star Trek.
Well, I'm going to start watching Deep Space Nine so I get a frame of reference in discussions too, because if
you're going to fall in love twice,
I
both women are going to be named Dax.
Okay. So I do love talking about Star Trek, but I want to be a little focused and get back to the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Let's get back to the death of this motherfucker.
Yeah, because Joe, like you said, Joe smashed the lamp onto the professor's head and stole his gun as the professor was going for his gun. So that's how he found it. And then as he's leaving, Joe hears the professor's note about him, about not liking his face and feeling disturbed by him. So Joe runs. Joe runs from these words as if they're fire, because someone so self-absorbed can't abide the criticism.
Well, wait. Can you okay, so let's say you have no idea what audio recordings are.
Right.
And
so there's this voice coming out of a box. Yeah.
And there's his voice is just like, I'll tell you what I think about that guy. And it's like, oh no, ghosts is what this guy is thinking. That's right.
He's thinking it's a ghost. Yes, you're correct. My mistake.
And the horror, the terror that this man goes through. I'm glad he goes through it.
Oh man, he really clunked him good.
Yeah, he's dead. They killed the professor.
Marianne's gonna be pissed.
Oh.
And Gilligan's Island was solved. Speaking of time travel. What if this is the same character? What if this is the professor and this is like an alternate reality where it's like, oh no, they killed the professor and no 3-hour tour.
Aww.
No one made anything out of coconuts.
The Oasis.
Yeah. Well, the professor was always famously able to create everything except for fixing the boat.
Yeah, no boats. He was aquaphobic.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
Where do
so
you?
he's
What
marching
city
around
do you think
town.
this is? Sorry, Jill.
Well,
What city do you think they're
it's
in?
supposed to be New York City.
Yeah, but the lights and everything, it looks like Vegas.
Yeah,
That's
it
what I
does,
was
but
gonna say.
that's because they're using the same light up signs from that other Twilight Zone. The four of us are
Oh,
dying.
like the I'm using my arm inappropriately. Is it the one arm bandit episode?
One arm bandit. Is that? Oh no,
Slot
this is
machine.
the no. This is the one where there's one person who can change his face to all these other faces.
No, I don't know. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, well, okay.
So moving on, can we get away
No,
from
no,
the
no. I'm
Oasis? It's
checking.
creeping me out.
No. I was trying to see where the four of us are dying was set. I can't see. I can't remember when it was set. I think it was Manhattan too. So this is their
This is supposed to
depiction
be
of
New York.
it's
Right.
supposed to be New York. And he's taking it all in a very animalistic way.
Yeah.
He's
Well, he's treating it like, and that's what I enjoy about his reaction to this situation is that he's treating it like a guy who wanders into the middle of the street in a Western. And he's like, what are we doing? Where do I go? What's that? All right. There's horses coming at me. Like, I think that this is a really good representation of a Western guy showing up in a modern world. And he's like, and he's still doing it. The only thing that would make this better is if that guy was played by Powers Booth.
Oh yeah.
well, and he
He's doing a
also
good
has
job.
he also seems like he's gonna start beating up the cars.
He does. He looks like he's gonna fucking fight cars. That's great because it reminds me of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy when, who's most deaf? And he's like, didn't you think it was weird when I introduced myself to a car? I thought that they were the dominant race on this planet.
And here's also where he also has a fight with the phone booth.
This is amazing. This blew my mind when he didn't know how to get out of the phone booth and he fought the phone booth. I'd never seen this before. This is the best episode of the Twilight Zone that I've ever seen. This is an episode that defines time travel for me. Is that when you show up in the future, you're not going to know what happens.
Yeah, well, and nobody prepared him for this kind of thing, that you can communicate through a device like that. He's startled by the phone, frightened by the closing door he cannot open, and figures the only way to get out is to bust out. And
he does it in a great way.
Yeah, he injures himself in doing so.
Yeah, good for him. He's a son of a bitch.
He's got a hanky, though, to clean himself up.
Who cares? Although I did like the hanky. I thought the hanky was a nice touch. You know, because if you're a saddle hand or whatever, you need a hanky.
Well, and he's also mad at jukeboxes. So he just goes around town picking fights with technology. Yeah, he's
confused by them.
Scared. He's scared and he's upset.
Yes.
He doesn't understand how it works.
I don't see any violins. Where are the drummers?
Are there tiny musicians in here?
Well, and that's, you know what? And the actor's choice or the story choice, direction, what have you, is that he's always like, when he shows up in the big city, and I can understand this, and I thought this was very poignant, if I'm using the word correctly, is that he's always holding his ears. And he's like, it's so loud. There's so much noise. I thought that was Like he is, and good for him. I'm glad he's being tortured. Also, I feel bad for the jukebox because that's a nice
Yeah,
jukebox.
it was a nice jukebox.
It used to be.
They dismantled it.
They did.
He's just trapped. His mind is running amok on him right now.
But
Well,
he's-
good.
Action is
Yeah.
rage. He
Man
deserves the
shot him.
torment. He does.
He
This
does.
is more, this is. It's like he's almost like caught in a purgatory type state, maybe.
Well, and
Yes. And he wants to be able to control what's surrounding him, and he cannot, so he destroys.
yeah.
Mhm.
Hello,
Like a
YouTube.
good analogy.
I would like
and
this to be your fucking moral for the day. I wish to control everything, and yet I cannot. I am a man amok.
Yeah. And as you're saying, all the noise hurts him physically. And so he tells the saloon bartender, whatever he is, shopkeeper,
Gary.
Gary. He doesn't get a name, does he?
No, I don't think so.
But he tells him that he's going to have to pay for the
Woody.
jukebox. Oh, and that noise.
It's so loud.
He even puts his gun on the table, but I don't know if he was like offering it as payment or just
No,
like,
no,
hey,
no.
I have a gun. Yeah, I have a gun. Do what I say.
No, that's exactly what it was. Is because Woody said, "You busted up my Wurlitzer. So what are you going to do about it?" And he's like, "Here's my gun. I'm not doing nothing about it." And he's like, "All right, don't kill me."
Oh,
not my
speaking of
Who's that?
Wurlitzer, yeah. Old Man Bird
Who's
says
this guy?
1960 Wurlitzer.
I
Who's
don't
this
recognize him.
Me
It's
neither.
a young James Gandolfini.
James Gandolfini.
No, I'm joking. I'm just making sure.
I know you are, but I'm just saying there is a slight resemblance when you look at him.
It's the hairline.
Well,
That's
let me
it.
see. Let me see if I can see in the Albert Salmi is Joe Caswell. It doesn't say.
He's
Well, he's a
uncredited.
speaking part, so he should have. Anyway,
Yeah. Hold on, let me see. Who was then when?
yes.
Hmm.
That is Sean Connery.
007.
Yes.
Hold on.
No,
Oh,
it's
I
George.
wanted to
Latin.
help.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm just fussing. I shouldn't make fun.
Hmm.
We're looking up actual things. This is a show. We're live. I should be
Oh.
more attentive to the facts of the matter.
Well, I guess he's uncredited because I can't seem to find. Wait a minute. Oh, Richard Carlin. He's the
Hey,
bartender.
Dick Carlin.
Any relation to the great George Carlin?
I don't think so.
No, it's a
Carlin's
K.
common.
It's a K rather than.
Oh, it's
Okay.
a different. It's different Carlin.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like
Anyway,
flabbergasted.
I think that the guy shows up, Joe. He shows up, he busts up the Wurlitzer, and then he's very lackadaisical about you busting up property. And he's like, "What do you want?"
He
And
is. But
and
I
then he
think he's just playing his cards because he realizes this man is insane. And he just wants to get him out. Is
Yes.
what I'm thinking.
And
the-
then
so-
Joe drops the gun on the table and he's like, "All right, you need a drink." Because it's
yeah, you should
1960.
probably go to bed. And
Yeah.
here's a couple of free bottles of liquor. All I want,
just
go
throwing
home.
bottles of
He
liquor.
just grabs, chugs a bottle.
And then Joe notices the television and he's like, "What is that?" "It's a window." And then he turns on the
Oh
television.
no! Well, the bartender couldn't know that this was a bad idea.
It was a bad
And-
idea.
And what's the likelihood that the coincidence
It's a Western.
that
In
it's a Western?
1960, I thought about this.
What?
It is very high. The possibility of watching a Western in 1960, very high.
Yes.
We
Yes, but
totally
so
agree.
very unlucky that it wasn't a commercial or something else.
So
Disarming.
he shoots the TV.
Club Bonanza.
I
Yes.
love the bartender's
And
response, and
only
he's like, "You're gonna have to pay for that."
finally, the bartender says, now, now it's time to call the police.
Yeah, no, I know, but that's because the show can happen.
Yes. And so Joe runs out, he shoots at a car, possibly murdering somebody else. So he might have 2 murders on
Yes,
his hands now in the
yes.
20th century.
22. Oh, well, 2 in the 20th century, yes.
Yes. Yeah, 22 total.
But
And
2 in our time.
Yes, but he manages to escape the scene of the crime and return to the professor.
One of the best. I thought it was so good that after he runs out of the bar, he falls into like a dusty dirt. I thought that was great because it was like, again, I think this is a great Western. And he falls into it, and it's just like, yeah, no, that's your business. That's how you would do it when you were from.
Greek Letters Larson says, "What's that, bartender? Television is a device designed to make people stupid."
However, I would like to argue
Yes.
2 of our favorite television shows kind of came with a tag that said, "What if television didn't make you stupid?" And those 2 shows are this one, Twilight Zone, and also Star Trek. Like, what if they could help? And
What
I
if
think
they
that
could help?
these
Well,
2
and
shows.
that's why I read that comment, because very often Greek letters brings up things that can be discussed, and yes, definitely. That was also the goal of well, it's for children, but Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, he went up to Congress and said, television doesn't have to be stupid, and discussed what he could do to that end, and it very often is. It very often does play to the lowest common denominator, but sometimes, like with the Twilight Zone, like with Star Trek, like with other intelligent television, it can be positive.
Yes. I wish there was more of a responsibility towards television. Like, it's so, I don't know. I'm not going to Pollyanna. Move on.
That's
Move
okay.
on.
But okay, I'll move on. Joe is asking the guy he killed for help. So
Yes.
he's asking the professor for help.
That
He's
ain't
dead.
gonna work right now, pal. You done knocked
No.
them dead.
No, but he's heard the voice coming from the box, so maybe he thinks there's
Wait.
still a spirit.
Okay, before we move on, I don't believe that Joe would be able to find himself back into the lab. That's my only problem with this episode. Yeah, when he ran away in terror, and then I don't think that he would be able to. Like, this is on the 14th floor or whatever.
Maybe he has a good sense of direction.
I guess he's a cowboy.
Twilight Zone. He's in.
I know. Fair enough. Good answer.
Well, and so Joe's modern day analog enters the room with his own gun.
Your analysis is making me very, very happy.
Yes, he's a modern day version of him.
What's his name?
His name. Oh.
No, he doesn't have a name. He doesn't get a name in the episode, but what do you want to call him?
He might have a name that we don't know.
I want to call him Gerard.
Gerard.
Jerry for short.
He looks like more of Tommy DeVito.
Oh, I like. Let's call him DeVito. I like DeVito.
His name is Paul Johnson.
His name is Robert Paulson.
His name is Paul Johnson, played by Than Wynn.
Played by Thanos.
Thanwine or Thanwine.
His name is Clem Fandango.
Wow. He was in like 150 things. Oh my
I was
goodness.
in 150 things, and that's why I have to use creams every morning.
Okay. He was mostly in television, but
I was mostly in television. Well, videotape in the late 90s.
Leave It to Beaver, Gunsmoke, Mission
I left it
Impossible,
to the Beaver.
the Man from Uncle, Perry Mason,
Ooh.
$6 Million Man,
Wow.
T.J. Hooker.
Oh,
Wow, this guy's got a pretty deep resume.
Yeah, like if you were paying attention very closely to 1960s and 70s TV, you would probably know him. The Untouchables, Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. And I'm just reading the
That's-
ones I recognize.
Yeah,
There's a few more.
yeah. That's where I remember him from. Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. Voyage to the Bottom.
Very good. We found one.
Greek Letters Larson in the chat says, Jill, you should know better than letting Scotty rambling drunk on your show. That is actually her new Twitter byline, I guess. So
Is it disturbing? Okay, quiet down, Scotty. We're talking about not
I
Star
can
Trek.
go. No, it's
Twilight
fine.
Zone.
I will.
See, I make mistakes too, and I'm not even drunk.
No, but I'm the one making the mistakes. They're just blaming you for my mistakes. It's April Fool's Day. What the hell? I thought this was a party.
What's this? Well, it's supposed to be reverent a bit, but
I guess.
Because I do love the Twilight Zone. It's my first science fiction.
These are my favorite episodes of the Twilight Zone. Like both of these.
Yeah, Joe overpowers because he's bigger, and it makes sense that he kind of overpowers him, and he's able to take the gun. But Joe, the criminal, gets hit the gun, and they have a scuffle. Joe is a beast, so it's very surprising that the man is able to use his fighting skills to almost throw Joe through the window. It must be just a matter of skills in general in fighting, and not just brute force.
Well,
because Joe should be stronger than this guy, I would think. But anyway,
okay.
Joe was drinking a lot of alcohol, so maybe that made him a little off.
Yeah, no, he did pound like half a bottle of whiskey half an hour ago.
So however Paul was able to succumb Joe to his fighting skills, he strangles him to death with the blinds. The blind.
Isn't that amazing?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that amazing? Is that
he gets the execution?
He ultimately gets hanged.
Yep. He's wrapping them up. He's like, I'm going to finish what they started, finally.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, but the thing is, Joe, he went through the justice system. He'd killed 20 people, and they finally decided they can't fix this guy, and they were gonna have him hanged.
Yes.
And then he gets sent to the future, and this guy carries out Joe's execution. And
Martin
he's
Scorsese
just so
here.
Paul is just so happy to have the two have just won that fight. He starts messing around with things. He accidentally turns on the time machine. And
there is one thing that I was disappointed in this climax. There is one thing that I was disappointed in this climax, is that he's like, oh yeah, no, he must have some keys in here somewhere. And he finds the keys. And I was like, oh, so are those the keys to the time machine? And he never uses the keys. It's like Chekhov's keys. I was like, oh, so you found the keys and it didn't make a lick of Nevermind? All right.
Yeah. No, all he had to do was turn on the machine, get into the machine, and then he's sent back.
Yes.
And is faces an execution of his own without
he
any
murdered
sort of trial.
a man.
He did. He did do the crime, but he didn't receive due process. He didn't.
But he received
There was
justice.
He received justice, but
And
no,
there is
no jury, no judge, just the execution, just the sentencing.
No, fine. But there is a conversation in the show where it's like, what about justice? And it's like, I'll tell you about justice. No, it's right and wrong. And it's like, I got beaten right and wrong into me with a wet rope. And then he's like, okay, so not right and wrong, but what about justice? And that's when it's like, I'll tell you about justice. And then he beats the professor over the head. And this is the justice. Like, you kill a man while you're doing ne'er-do-well? Yeah, no, swing from a rope.
No, they're all freaked out. Like, what? He's back?
Who is that?
Yeah.
Said the guy from the cage. Oh, I can't wait. Jill, you're absolutely correct. This is one of the things that I've been looking forward to for a long time.
Please read the closing narration.
By a long time, I mean yesterday. This is November 1880, the aftermath of a necktie party. The victim's name, Paul Johnson, a minor league criminal and the taker of another human life. No comment on his death, save this. Justice can span years. Retribution is not subject to a calendar. Tonight's case in point in the Twilight Zone. Yamanama.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, right? It's fun when you do the Yamanama. Love this episode. This is my favorite episode of the fucking. Oh, sorry about the swear. This is my favorite episode.
But you sworn like 50 times today, so
and I've apologized every time.
Scotty swear jar is overflowing.
I know. Yeah. Don't forget, buy me a She-Hulk or a Tendy.
Directed by David Orrick. Albert Salami.
No, this is amazing. Salami. Like so, Jedi Master. Out of 10, what do you give this episode?
I would put it in 10. It's a 10. I think they were both great. I loved them both. Now that I finished it through you guys, this one, and they were both. I like the Twilight Zone. I don't think there really are too many bad episodes, if you can call them bad, because it's all about your mind and how your mind interprets the show. And just like with the Night Gallery would be the same way. You know, you watch a show that makes you really. These shows make your mind work. And
see, it's interesting. It's interesting that you say that, because I was like, oh, everyone should come and tune in. We're talking about the Twilight Zone. And someone said, Scott, don't you like the Night Gallery better? Like and I do. I love the Night Gallery. But the Outer Limits is one of those things. Like all three of those. Any Rod Serling, I just want it all over me.
Yeah. He's an incredible storyteller.
Yeah, the ideas that coursed through his veins. Anyway, water closet? Can I go pee?
Yes, but when you say it like that, I have to play this.
See.
That totally makes sense. That makes sense. I'll be back in a sec.
Yes.
Well,
so it Sigvaldus in the chat is saying, you would think if a scientist found out how to time travel, they would try to pull someone from closer to their own time and not someone from the Wild West. Well, this was a very ambitious professor who wanted to learn about the past that he could not touch. So, but it did end up being his folly. You're right. That would have been more intelligent to not do that. Valdison says, heck, I would even try to manipulate the past, warn leaders before World War One, and show them the results of their actions if that war happened.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, but you never know what the consequences of doing, even though that would be nice.
Changing history, yeah. You go
We
back
don't
in
know.
time and mess with shit. You might not
Right.
be around.
In the kind of malleable timeline, this is saying if you can change the past, what kind of future are you creating? Without World War One and Two as we know it, may have never happened. And we would have avoided the Great Depression. But also we would have avoided the boom in the economy after World War II.
Exactly. Yeah, well, World War II, that's a discussion for another day, but
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I'm
it
an
was a
ex-military
tragedy.
person, so yeah, World War II is horrifying for the whole planet. Not just to mention what transpired with the Holocaust and everything, but war. Being a veteran and an ex-soldier myself, I hindsight's always 20/20 in my opinion, but I seen a lot of things that happened within my time in the military and things I just shut my mouth and did my job, but there were things I didn't like. But it was the career I chose as a young man, so I didn't think twice about the ramifications and the long-term consequences it might have had on me at the age of 17 when I enlisted. But I'm going
My
off the track.
goodness.
But
Well, yeah,
just
but that's something that you had to face, and that experience probably shaped your life in some way.
definitely so. I'm more OCD than I've ever been in my life.
Sigvaldison says, I don't care about the consequences. I would be saving lives. And so, yeah. And the past can't be changed, then the bootstrap past can't. Okay, so I have to read it exactly as Greek letters wrote it. Past can't change. The bootstrap paradox is fake. And that is Greek letters, Larson. And that is well, it's our more modern day perspective on time travel, is that it makes more sense if you can't change the past to avoid paradoxes or to keep them from happening. But this is classic science fiction. This is when we didn't know whether or not time travel could happen or not. It was still maybe a possibility that you could go back into the past, and we know now that we can't go back into the past, more or less, unless you're a microscopic particle. But I don't know. It's
It can break your brain just thinking
1960.
around this stuff.
1960 malleable timelines are fine because that's what we had for science fiction. And I appreciate it. I'm gonna appreciate it the way that the author wrote it and intended it, and not impose my modern day ideas of storytelling and say I am
is it
better than
woke?
this story.
Is
I
it
am
woke?
better than the Twilight Zone because I have more advanced ideas on time travel than they did back then. No, I can't say that. It was a legend. Twilight Zone is legendary, and I will respect it.
It's the writing. It's the writing and the actors and how they bring it to. It's what makes it
the
so
direction. Good. It's like I think it's the entire construction of both of these stories that really set them at the forefront. Like this is
speaking
amazing.
of stories,
Yes.
I want to read the previews for next week before we move on.
Okay. Are we moving on? All right.
Preview for next week's story. The man who lives in this tenement is an aging fighter named Bolly Jackson, over the hill at age 36, from leaving himself in too many arenas for too many years before too many screaming people. And next, he looks for a miracle, and he finds it in a little boy on The Twilight Zone next week. The Big Tall Wish. Something very, very special. I hope we'll see you then. And since we do 2 Twilight Zone episodes, I'll also read preview for next week's story. Greetings from the Low Rent District. Next week, we follow the fortunes and misfortunes of Mr. Larry Blyden, who plays the role of one Rocky Valentine, an itinerant second-story man who's shot dead in an alley one night, then goes to his just rewards, this little item being one of them. This one you can watch with the tongue in your cheek. It's called A Nice Place to Visit. Next week on the Twilight Zone.
You know what? I enjoy, like, one of the things, and I know, what is it? Sigvaldason says, I just didn't find these stories all that intriguing. 5 out of 10 for both of them. And what I liked about both of these stories is that there was a progression of intrigue. It wasn't me just waiting for something to happen. It was like, oh, what's the twist? And it progressed more and more. And so I really, really enjoyed it because there was discovery throughout the tale. And that's why these two were, this is the best April Fool's Day, except for the last April Fool's Day, that I've ever had.
Hey, what happened at the last April Fool's Day that was better?
You know LDG?
Yes. Oh yeah, we love LDG here.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's a fantastic man.
Free the net.
Watch out
for Prometheus.
Yeah. And he said, "Have you ever seen April Fool's Day, like the horror movie?" And I was like, "I've never seen that." And I ordered it on Blu-ray and I saw it and it blew my mind. The worst part about it is that I can't tell anybody about the movie April Fool's Day. You have to see it for yourself.
Okay, so since we're not going to get an explanation of what April Fool's Day the movie is about, I'm going to read this pretend show note from Greek Letters Larson, who says, okay, show's over, folks. Tune in next week when Scotty discovered a DeLorean with a flux capacitor in it and enjoy his adventures.
Scott,
you know what the best part about that is that I would never be able to get the DeLorean started.
That's all right, Scotty. I'm going to hijack one of Elon Musk's. I live close by. We're gonna build a Death Star and fly over Kathleen Kennedy's house and take her out so she can't destroy any more Star Wars.
You know what? But the thing is, and this is what I don't understand about you people. Don't you get that I love that woman? If you destroy her house, her husband is away and I'm in bed with her.
No, the idea is that there is nothing left. That there is no more Kathleen Kennedy.
No, I know, but I'm
destroying Lucasfilm.
I think she's cute.
Well, it's not her appearance.
I want to slow dance with Kathleen Kennedy and have her whisper things about the Force being female into my ear as I just nuzzle her.
Okay, this is getting too gross.
It's weird. It is very weird.
It's getting, as Rachel Ziegler would say, weird.
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 Well, with the Death Star, you're taking the planet out.
No, I'm just going to use a little bit of power like they did in the Rogue One, where they just took out that little part of the city instead of the whole planet.
Okay, so I'm gonna.
Also, Rogue One was produced by Kathleen Kennedy. So if you like Andor, you're also a fan of Kathleen Kennedy.
How much did she do as a producer? How much did she actually create? Which is not a thing that is actually ever explained.
It's all equivocation with you people.
Anyway,
She
which
doesn't
episode did
understand
you?
Star Wars. Period. She doesn't
I
understand.
understand Star Wars, and so does she.
Okay, so I'd like to say hello to Miss Sparkles, and
Hey, Miss Sparkles.
I question Kennedy's creativity
Yeah,
or
well,
what value she's ever given to anything other than
I'll
being
be
there.
scrambling in the back for things I could less care about.
Well, which episode do you like better? And so I actually agree with the chat here. People are like all over. I love this one more because I believe it had some influence on the cage that and other subsequent science fiction that
Oh, I
talks
didn't
about
vote.
aliens.
I didn't vote. Don't close the
Yeah,
vote.
I don't get to. I don't get to vote. So I'll leave it open for a couple of minutes.
Scotty,
But I
you
wanted to
registered to
close
vote
it.
in this state?
I don't get to.
I need your
No, I
voter
got an
registration.
echo.
Oops, sorry. Who's echoing?
I hear an echo.
No, it's not an echo. I'm playing it.
No, I got an echo.
Sorry.
Hello? Am I still echoing? No, I'm not echoing, so it's
No.
Scotty.
Did it on
right.
purpose.
Why?
People are the same everywhere.
Yeah.
I found them both amazing.
Oh, yeah. 1-2 punch of awesome.
So we've got 16 votes now. It's Scotty.
And-
Yeah, it was Scotty. Scotty was echoing on purpose.
Yes.
She made good coffee. Yeah, I hear that. Some people say that her coffee wasn't good though, so I'm not so sure even if her coffee was good.
Are you even good? You're just going to talk smack about her fucking coffee. Sorry about the swear.
No, I'm gonna
Why
talk smack
not?
about Rian Johnson just destroying Luke Skywalker's character. And bombs do not fall in space. Space
This is-
bombers. That just
Yeah,
like made
no,
my
you're
head want
right.
to explode.
Oh, what
You're
about
right.
the horse he's running across on the
That
hull
was
of the ship?
that was like I
That
lost
was
my
JJ.
mind. I mean,
That wasn't Ryan Jones.
oh, Jar Jar Abrams. Oh,
Oh, speaking of JJ Abrams,
the
tomorrow
pain,
or
the pain.
Thursday night over at the Phantasmagorium, we're going to be talking about arguably one of the best Mission Impossible movies directed by JJ Abrams, and also the antagonist is Philip Seymour Hoffman, one of the best modern action movies of the 21st century. So,
Wow. Okay. Yeah, definitely check
Yeah.
that out at the Phantasmagorium. And so I'm going
at
to
the
end the poll now.
highlight, yeah, close the
Ending
poll.
poll.
Now I voted.
You voted. The poll's closed.
All right,
It's been open
and I
for
still
3
lost.
hours.
I
2
still
It's a
hours.
landslide. You lost by
Yeah,
a
so-
landslide, dude.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
look
Yeah,
at me. I'm
like
a Democrat.
Oh, that's
You,
all right.
you like
That's
your
good. I like,
you like
all
your
people. I don't care
cowboy.
what you are politically.
I've told
like
you
your-
before, Jill. I like schlock.
I'm a libertarian, so it don't matter.
You like your
Yeah,
criminal
well,
cowboy.
I'm a Canadian, so nothing matters.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because that's why I wasn't taking you serious. You can't be a Democrat. You're Canadian.
Yeah,
Miss
right.
Broflovsky doesn't think Canada's nice.
Who the hell is Miss Broflovsky? Oh, right. No,
Kyle's
blame
mother
Canada.
on
No,
South
I get
Park.
you. I get you. I get you.
Yeah, Mr. Broflovsky. I love that.
And that
though.
bitch Anne Murray too. And by the way, Anne Murray won a Lifetime Achievement Award last night or 2 nights ago at the Juno.
She's got a beautiful singing voice. I don't care what anybody says. I love
Well,
Anne
whatever.
Murray's
I was
music.
surprised to find out that she was still alive.
Okay. And,
Miss Sparkle
and I think
says
that's all
that Canadians don't count. That's great. Don't tell Canadian
Oh.
Spider-Man
they can
or
they-
PvP.
well, Canadians can have opinions, but their vote doesn't count
No, not yet.
unless they have their own election. Are you gonna have an
Or
election soon?
until we like, you know what? We're all fingers crossed. 51st state, yeah.
We're all in this shit together either way. Canada, we're connected. This, all that political drama, I just let it go in one ear.
We
and out the
are
other.
We have left
We
the
are-
Twilight Zone.
we are all. Have we left the Twilight Zone? Because it sounds
Yes, we
like a
have.
lot like the
Are we
Twilight
backstage
Zone.
now?
No,
What was-
we're still
No,
live,
we're still
yo.
live. We're
Oh.
still live. I'm just saying we're
Oh.
not talking about the Twilight Zone anymore. That
I'm just saying. I'm
covered
just
it.
saying. We are, and in the spirit of the Twilight Zone, we are all just monkeys on a giant rock, hurtling at an incredible speed through space. So I'm happy to be on this world at this time with all of you. Like, this is fun.
Hey,
And if I become abrasive, sorry, but
you're good
like
people,
this is
Scotty.
fun hanging
I
out with
like
you
it.
guys. This is the best.
I'm glad I met
You-
you both.
if-
I'm
As long,
serious. been a
I'm glad
joy.
you're here too, Jedi Master. But Scotty can be a little ridiculous sometimes.
He's funny.
Sometimes.
He's a funny
Yeah.
guy. Hey, you're a funny guy,
Sometimes.
Scott.
So can I
You're
go?
not all right,
Is it
Spider.
over?
Not yet. You have to tell me. Besides, you did talk about the Phantasmagorium already, but also tell me
Yeah.
about other stuff you're doing online,
So-
and then you can go.
Okay, so here's the deal.
But I mean, if
Right.
you want to stay to the end of the show, I do prefer that.
You know
but
what?
can
I'll
run-
stay. I'll stay. I'll stay.
You can run if you need to.
I like smoking. No, but the thing is that I am a part of the Phantasmagorium show, which is absolutely fantastic. We've been going through the Mission Impossible movies. We've gone through the Matrices, the Terminators, the James Bonds. We've done so many movies, but we're in the middle of the Mission Impossible. And so that's fun. But also, one of the things that I want to say, I have to find the exact date. If I don't find the exact date, people will call me dumb more than usual. April 24th, there's going to be this great anniversary, 9-year anniversary of Cinema Gulp. And I'm really hoping that I get to be a part of it. I have to see if I can get the day off from the Phantasmagorium. But yeah, like if I highly recommend one of the best channels on the internet. I am so grateful that I get to be a part of that show. I'm so grateful that I get to be friends with the people who made it happen. I'm a Johnny come lately when it comes to the cinema gulp. Like with the Phantasmagorium, and you're like, oh no, they only get 12 views every show. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine, because it's just me hanging out with my friends. But when, like, I'm so happy that I get to hang out with Cinema Gulp, because they do such incredible work in terms of their editing, in terms of everything. And I'm blessed. It's kind of like you, Jill. It's like, why the fuck do you let me hang out?
Well, like
And-
Jedi Master says, you're funny. You make me laugh.
Yeah, well,
guys
thank
are
you,
great.
Jessica Rabbits.
And I like the subject matter and the discussion, and I like you guys are into the same stuff. And my wife likes a lot of my science fiction stuff. She likes the Comic Cons and she likes stuff like that. But to really talk about it the way I like to talk about it with y'all, with what we've been doing, and that you brought me in to your panel and everything, I appreciate that. By the way, thank you. And I'm not doing it just for exposure for me either. I'm doing this because I love this. I'm not monetizing my channel. I'm not doing any of that crap. I don't need to do it. I just do this because it's a passion. Don't get me going on my Joe Pesci. I'm saving that for the Tuck and Roll show Saturday night where I get
Guys,
Oh.
guys,
Oh, that'd
That's
he
be
a
good.
doesn't
character.
mean it.
Good.
He doesn't mean it. Send him money.
Well,
No.
maybe someday, but I mean, he's just getting his.
All right,
feet
if you
wet,
don't want to
so-
send him money, buy me a tendy.
Yes, buy Scott toys apparently.
No,
And
but
anyway,
ahead, Jim. Go ahead.
let's switch over to you, Jedi Master 2022. You do have a new ish channel. Could you tell me about
Yes.
what's going on, what's coming up?
Well, my recent is doing slideshows of episodes going through, starting with the Reluctant Soul. I have uploaded the first 3 slideshows, and they're getting actually good response. Starting to get some good feedback finally, a little bit. And I'm not, like I said, if I get 100 subscribers, I get like 40, 50, 40 subscribers almost now. It's not to me, it's not the quantity of what I'm going to do. I'm setting up an interview with a friend that I met that was really close to Mark Goddard, and he's going to come on, and he makes my Lost in Space toy collection look minuscule. But he's a great guy, and we've done I've been to MegaFest with him and his wife. They're wonderful people, and he's going to be a panel member, and we're going to talk about Lost in Space, and we're going to do like a tribute show for the late great Mark Goddard, because he did pass away and left us a little bit over a year and a half ago. Almost 2 years, and
That sounds like an amazing way to start your channel. Well,
yeah,
well
and I
done
want to
setting
have
that
you
up.
both guests if you would like to be part of that panel and ask a Q&A when we do Q&A and everything. It's not going to be. I'm just going to let them talk when we do that, and I'm working on some other guys. My friend Ron Gross, he's an artist. He does unbelievable artwork in some of my groups, and I'm working on when he's thinking about it. And then there's a few other people that I want to have on that were involved in our little circle and talk about Lost in Space some nights when we go over some episodes. So,
May I
like I
interrupt
said,
you, Master?
Sure.
absolutely, my friend.
So if you could just, wherever is within your reach, find me the best toy and put it to the camera.
Within my reach without making a racket.
Yeah. Well, I didn't expect you to get up. I didn't know your shelves were that far away. Either way.
My Major West. This is my Major West figure.
Holy shnikes. I don't even
and
want to... Oh.
And it's got complete with the laser rifle in there that he uses to shoot the Cyclops in season. And
I
it's
know
got
a guy.
His gloves.
I know a guy who would absolutely adore that. Sadly, he's dead. But that is amazing.
Yeah, I have that. He didn't sign that one. The robot that I have behind me, the silver, the diamond, that one's signed by Mark Goddard.
Next
a lot of things. I don't know.
My friend, Mr. Nobody, one of my favorite Lost in Space episodes. Anyways, I'm doing that. My channel's growing slowly. Check out my slideshows. I've just uploaded Island in the Sky slideshow. I've done Reluctant Stowaway, The Derelict, and Island in the Sky. And of course, episode 4 is one of my favorite, is The Hungry Sea. And so forth and so on. And then eventually...
and the first few episodes of Lost in Space are incredible, written by a Star Trek writer who would go on to be a Star Trek writer. And it's just really good science fiction.
Yeah, it is. Like I said, until like all 3 seasons have some really great episodes, but the campiness and the corniness really hits hard in season 2, and a few episodes in season 3 are just almost, I'm not saying unwatchable, but better off smoking a joint. If you smoke pot, watch those. Because you need to laugh.
I will.
Anyways, I digress, but that's it.
But
come
thank you.
Subscribe.
Thank you.
Come subscribe anytime you want. You ever want to do an impromptu panel and talk about something? I'm always like, if I'm not doing nothing. But when we do the streams and I start doing an episode, I'm going to do them on Mondays. And like you said, your time's good, 8 o'clock, Jill, Eastern Standard?
Yeah, 8 o'clock on Monday. And I think Stone Racket would like to join that. If you can.
Absolutely. As many people as the more the merrier.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm not. Because I don't like
Scotty is not a Lost in Space fan. So,
like, if you want to review the movie, I'll do the movie, but I'm not.
Oh, we'll do the movie. Don't worry. Oh, we're going to do the movie.
Let me know when the movie happens, but I'm not watching.
Oh, we're going to do that. The 2018 series, my friend. We're going to do Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea, the old Ray Harryhausen movie.
Oh, what about the Poseidon Adventure?
Yeah, we can, even though it's not science fiction per se, it
Well,
can be
it's
brought in.
kind of science. There's
Yeah,
there's
yeah. The
ocean.
boat gets capsized, and how old
Yeah,
10-year-old kid
science.
saves their asses.
Sure.
No, no, but that's what I'm doing. And come on, if you're in the chat, you hear me, like and subscribe. Check me out. Check out what I've put up there. I got some cool stuff. Couple Bill Mummy music from my concert that I got to sit front row stage, and like that for a nerd, it has to be like Nerdvana to see him in concert. So that's it. Thank you for listening.
Yes.
Thank you for playing.
Thank you for thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing what you had to say about the Twilight Zone, and you too, Scotty. Yeah, I'm glad you like these episodes.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
feeling more
but it's gonna be
comfortable now.
it's all downhill until
No,
Shep.
it's not.
Until the gremlin shows up on the wing. I'm gonna be like, this isn't as good as Execution.
There's
Oh my
something
God.
on the wing.
I do love time travel stories, so I did enjoy it too. So I'm going to. That's all for this time in the Twilight Zone. Thanks again.
Oh wait,
for
wait,
everyone
wait. Because you asked
Uh,
me to tell this story one more time, and I was hoping
Oh,
you
yeah.
would be able to play the appropriate clip. So
Okay.
I was in a room where I was, talking to Jill, and then I went outside of the room, opened the door, and I thought I smelled poo. And I was like, oh no. Is it Baxter? And because Baxter is a dog that lives in my house. And I was like, oh no, Baxter pooed. And then I remembered one of my roommates. I think cigars smell like farts in a steamy shower. And so I went downstairs and I was like, oh no, it was just one of my roommates smoking a cigar. And the moral of the story is Baxter's not to blame. He did not poo.
Going to bed. Gotta turn off the lights. Hey, there's TV. Gotta turn off the power. Hey, turning off things. Yeah, it's time for bed. So now, where's the sleepy place? It is upstairs, but I gotta make sure the door is locked, and now it's time for bed. Baxter, he's on the couch. He wonders why I'm singing. I'm going upstairs, and Baxter's coming with me. Just found a little poop. Gonna pick it up with my fingers and throw it in the toilet. Baxter is not to blame. Hey, buddy, you coming up? He's looking at me like I'm a crazy person. Come on, it's bedtime. Anyway, that's my song.
That doggie's cute. Baxter. Is it a Shih Tzu?
How dare you?
Is he a Shih
Actually,
Tzu?
yes.
Yeah, I could tell.
No, it's a German Shepherd, but I can't read.
He is cute. I keep him.
He's a shapeshifter.
I don't have mini overlays. The only two image overlays I have are Baxter and a map of the Lord of the Rings map.
Yeah. My dog's gonna maul.
Oh
me
no,
when
that
I'm
looks
in the
like
living room.
Baxter too. So now are we done?
That's so cute. Yeah. No, and I want to thank everybody in the chat. Thank you to thank you to Greek Letters Larson. You were with us the whole time. Miss Sparkles. Hello, and thank you for being here. Who else was here
Greek
today? There
Letters?
was
Miss Sparkles.
Yeah. Sigvaldus and DJ Play Nice.
Siggy. DJ Play Nice. I'm glad you played nice.
Oh,
He's Greek
yes, he
too.
always does. He is?
Yasu Philos.
Watcher X. Chug Uggums, Time Traveler. What's that?
I don't know, someone who chugs Uggums. But thank you for being here, Watcher X. Who chugs Uggums? I don't know. People who like expired milk. What is this Uggum? I don't know. I'll chug it.
Canadian Spider-Man. Awesome. I hope
Spidey!
everything's going well in Mexico.
Except for
Mexico.
the
The hernia, yeah. Jeez.
You feel better, pal.
Retro Scotty, thank you for being here. Gavin
I
Blackburn.
know, other
Grogu.
Scotty. Thank you for being here, other Scotty.
Yeah, he's around. That another Scotty exists.
I refuse to accept it.
Well, you've always said Scott's got to stick together, right? So
Oh, you know what? You got a good point. I'm sorry for being abrasive. Retro Scotty, thank you so much for being here and hold my hand.
There we go. DJ Knight, so glad you're here to give to spend some time with us.
Yes.
Anyone else? Did I miss anybody?
Oh, Lemon.
Oh,
Franco.
Scogli.
Lemon
Wait,
pie.
Lemon was here?
Scogli, Eugene.
You
Lemon
got
pie
it.
was here.
Lemon Pie was here. There's this thing where I don't say hi to Lemon and he
Matt
noticed.
D was here?
And
You,
yet
oh
again, I did not say hi to Lemon. I am such a failure. I am so sorry. Please forgive me.
Booger?
It is.
I greeted her and said hi.
When did Burger get here?
I'm just naming our friends, and I don't know if they were here.
Well, I know Lemon Pie.
They
I
are
think
here
Lemon Pie came.
sometimes.
Mark
You're
T
making
with
me
a
feel
C,
guilty.
Doomcock,
Scotty,
Tony Stark.
are you messing with us, Scotty?
Yes, I am.
Are you
Yes,
messing
I
with
am.
me?
Yes.
Doomcock does not
Hey.
slim it out.
Hey, you like
the
Spider?
chat.
Go fetch
He
me
doesn't
a
like
drink.
me, and I
You
don't
like
like him, but we
Well,
hang out in the same alleys.
Actually, what's weird is that I think you guys would be friends, but
we would
we will
be
never
if I
find out.
didn't. Yeah.
You like step
Okay,
and
so
fetch. I'm just
Sig
So it's time to go.
Balduson, Greek letters.
Oh yeah. Okay, I think we got it.
We got
If we
everybody.
missed you, sorry about that. Yeah, we did. Thanks again for
Yeah,
being
no, I'm not
amazing and
apologizing. I think I've been rad.
okay. And
Scogli Joda.
thanks again for everyone being amazing and insightful on the panel, in the chat. And I just had such a great time. And I'll see you actually tomorrow. Actually, I got a surprise.
I
Here's a
know,
surprise.
right?
I meant to do this earlier, but
What's the
here's the
surprise?
surprise. I want some
Money.
a few extra people to be able to show up tomorrow. So I'm gonna spend some money on my own channel to give away some memberships. So I
Oh,
gifted 5 memberships to my own channel. So
Well,
Classic
we have to
Comics.
stay on. We have to stay on for a while to make sure that people collect them. But yeah, tomorrow is going to be a what do you call it? Membership stream.
Yes, there's a membership stream tomorrow. So I wanted to gift a few memberships to see if anybody wants to hang out with me tomorrow. So the people who won the memberships are Classic Comics,
Nice.
Gorilla Censored Thoughts,
He's cool.
the Outcast Creative, Lance
Yeah.
Lovelands. He's
No,
shut you up,
Lance.
shut
Yeah,
your-
no, Lance. Lance is rad.
Yeah, Orphan Zane and Rob Wright, Gen X Pop Culture. That's a great list.
That's a good
And so-
lineup.
So if you're already a member or you just received a gift, you are welcome to show up tomorrow and we're gonna hang out.
I would like
And
to.
talk
I
about
would like
stuff.
to. I would like to say that there is a downside. I will probably be there.
It might be fun. But anyway, thank
Yeah.
you. So I hope to see you again. If I don't see you Wednesday or Friday, I hope to see you again next Tuesday in the Twilight Zone.
Near.
Near, near, near.
that is learnable.
And the ways our differences combine to create meaning and beauty.
It has always been easier to destroy than to create.
May we together become greater than the sum of both of us.
Well, now you have something new to think about. Carry on.
All right, move along. Done. Stop it. Get off of the things. Go outside. Get some food. It's like, it's a time of day where you live. Go do something. Shut up, Snoopy. I don't care. You smoke too much. Let's go. Let's go adventure. Let's go explore.
We don't have to be mean. Because, remember, no matter where you go, there you are.